Hello and welcome, DCL fans. Yippee! We're so back. We're here with finals. Oh my god. Who will win? Will we be eating an onion today? This is what we gotta find out. We got Glop here, of course, as usual.
Hello, DCL fans. We are so back. Yippee!
Classic. Let me just go ahead and link my stream in the appropriate places.
Let me link my deef in inappropriate places.
What?
Like Smogon scheduling. Yo, did you see Toxic's wall?
No, I did not.
Bro, some dude reached out and he was like, hold on, let me see if I can find the image. I gotta read this to you. Actually, if you want to pull it up on stream, that might be funny as fuck. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to share this to people. All right, tap into this.
Taps in.
You pull it up on the stream, and then I'll read it.
Yeah, I got it.
In his voice. All right. So this guy says, hello. We play for Autumn Seasonal. What time works best for you? I'm PST/GMT -8. And Hisui Avalug, a.k.a. Ethan, a.k.a. Toxic, responds with,
Gah, I like orange juice, freshly squeezed from the ripe core of the misto.
the tree of Misto.
A brother dog classic.
Yeah, this guy is not normal.
Like,
Do you ever just like
What do you even
see
say?
how the kids are talking and you're like, damn, I'm old? This is not like that. This is
Now
just
listen,
special.
I'd have a little bit more respect for it if he typed all that out, and then at the end he's like, oh, by the way, I'm EST. Like, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
But this, like, imagine you're the other guy, and you wait, like, 8 hours.
This guy
before
is the
checking
other
your
guy.
Smogon. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, like you check your Smogon wall for a response, and you just see this, and you're just like, Like, it took this guy fucking 8 hours to respond to me, and this is what he came up with.
He was in the lab cooking this one up.
Yeah, this is special. And the thing is, this isn't like the only one I've seen on his wall that's like this. He has another one like that too.
I mean, we all have our oddities. Right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, what's up, Cinerath? What's up, Toaster Gopher? Everyone in the stream. Dude.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He reached out at noon and got a response at 7 a.m. the next fucking day, and that's what he gets. Like, bro.
Mhm.
Oh, make sure you share the screen for me so I can see it live.
Of course.
Thank you.
I
bro.
would never forget such a thing. Alright, so DCL Finals, let's set the stage here. We have ZFG versus Judgment Day. And, like, let's just say, probably the expected result, all things considered, on who's going to be in finals. This season kind of went basically completely on script. Top teams made playoffs pretty early. And, yeah, it's no surprise seeing these two teams in the finals. Agency of Own... Whoa. What happened to my words there?
Try that again. Yeah, try that again, bro.
Let
Back up.
me collect my thoughts. Let me recall. So Agency of Zone, representing Judgment Day. They smashed our team in the semifinals. Not close. And Rabush is going to be... this is Ryan, right? Yeah, Glop. Would we like to see how you won?
Through sheer will and consistency of performance.
Yeah.
And aura farming, that too.
Yeah, true. Representing ZFG on the other side. So Zero Fox Given, they've had by far the strongest SV in the tour, which is a pretty big advantage considering half the games are SV. At the same time, Judgment Day, they're the second place SV, as well as they have very, very strong old gens. So it should be a pretty good matchup. We saw in the regular season when these teams faced, it was a tie. However, at that point, both of them had basically locked playoffs, so not a whole lot of incentives to try super hard in those matches. You don't want to give away prep, especially when a rematch in playoffs is almost inevitable, let's say. So this should be a real test on who is, better prepared, who wants it more, all that stuff. And taking a look at this first matchup, we have this like Meow Keldeo team against this Zarude, kind of like, what would you call this, like pivot heavy offense? You have like your Life Orb Lando
Pretty
kind of
much.
breaker, and then like you're spamming pivots, and you have your win condition and Zarude.
There is a
Pretty
benched
simple stuff.
Crown on that side as well. So yeah, it
Yeah.
really is a very pivot heavy, like breaker focused team, right?
Yeah. You got the flip turn from Aloe, best pivot in the game right now. You have Cinderace, obviously one of the better fast pivots, and then Zapdos, of course. Everyone knows what Zapdos does. On the other side,
I do
though,
believe this is one of the best performing drafts in the tour, right? This Zarude one.
it was one of them, yeah. So basically, going into finals, I saw this on TJ's video. They were talking about this. Their SV3, 4, and 5 drafts were all undefeated after midseason. And this is their SV5. So, included in that statistic, has been completely pounding. And then Agency Zone on the other side, this team has also been absolutely tearing it up. This Meow Keldeo Treads kind of thing. He's getting a lot of great usage out of Gouging Fire, something that, you know, has been a little bit overlooked in the past. He's really bringing it into a whole new light. Basically looks like Zardex when he's using it. And then, of course, the Mesprit Treads. Really good utility between the two of them, and that allows you to fit a little bit more offense on this team, hence the Gouging Fire. Then Electros is there as like a ground resist. What else is on the bench for this one? There's a Dusknoir and something else. A Fezandipity, right. So this team, obviously a lot of power there. Keldeo in
Kind of makes
particular.
sense, the Fez bench, right? Don't really want to bring that into Alomomola and Iron Crown. I feel like you're never really going to accomplish anything. CM sets get shut down by like Physical Lando or Psyshock Crown, and then of course Alomomola doesn't really care about the poison. It can just constantly flip, turn, and pivot in, get in Cinderace or Landorus. So
Yeah,
pretty logical brings from his end. I think bringing Electros is really nice for the Zapdos as well. And like knockoff is great into this team. A lot of these Pokemon are heavily item dependent.
true. Another thing worth saying about Fez as well, it does like kind of check Zarude in the typing wise. With a Terra type, Zarude can kind of just set up on that thing with jungle healing, not really care too much about the poison, and really use it as setup fodder. So, I mean, Fez doesn't really have a great job to do in this matchup. So yeah, the Electros does seem pretty nice as a Lando check, a Zapdos check. You would likely see, I don't know if it would be AV or like Restock on this team. I know he's used Restock Electros in the past to some good success into opposing Lando builds. So he could see that coming back. I think that would also be a little bit more effective at 1v1ing Zapdos long term, because obviously AV versus Zapdos, probably long term you are actually losing that trade, but it will take a long time. So I would guess Restock Electros as a long term check to those guys. The Meowscarada here does look pretty decent as long as you can avoid like a static from Zapdos, so I would expect protective pads, as is pretty standard into these static slash flame body slash rough skin kind of mons. Zapdos being one of them, obviously. So, got any predictions for these sets? I mean, we can see the Terra preview here. The Keldeo's Terra
I'm
Water.
interested in the Terra Water Keldeo because they just have the Alomomola, and I would think that AV would kind of just blank that thing. So I'm expecting it to probably be some kind of setup because I just don't think that specs would be the consistent damage and the value you'd want to get out of your Terra. So we might be seeing that, or they could be gunning for a Mesprit, angle, right? Say you're able to remove the Landorus. Terra Electric Mesprit is kind of difficult to remove. At worst, you force damage onto Zarude and keep it in range of other Pokemon's attacks, and at best, you get like 2 kills. So that could be an angle they play for as well.
Yeah, Terra Water against Alomomola builds is usually going to be like a Sub-Calm Mind kind of set with Surf and Vacuum Wave, or like Secret Sword, basically anything in the 4th slot, but often it's going to be Surf, Sub-Calm Mind. It really sets up on Aloe. With Terra Water, you can run sets that aren't even 2-hit KO'd by Play Rough, like for the sub. So there is that. I think the sweet spot for Keldeo, honestly, in the Aloe matchup is to make it so that Play Rough into Flip Turn does not break, but 2 Play Roughs does break, because then you can always guarantee a sub up. I think that's correct, right? Because otherwise they
I would agree
can
with that.
Play Rough into Flip Turn, and then they get in a threat with no sub up. But yeah. So there is like a sweet spot of bulk for Keldeo in this kind of matchup. We'll see how that ends up going, but I think just off of the matchup alone, it's pretty easy to guess a lot of Agency's build. I don't know if we'll be entirely correct, but it does seem like Ryan should have a pretty decent idea going in. There isn't too much flexibility given that it's Terra Water Keldeo if you want to get stuff done versus this draft. We look at the other side, Terra Ghost on Zarude. Now, Ghost is pretty interesting because you're kind of giving up the ability to beat Meowscarada, but at the same time, you're able to check stuff like Secret Sword Keldeo, and that allows you to fully spec into Spadef. So, you see Terra Ghost, I almost certainly am going to expect Max Spadef trying to keep that Keldeo in check, as if you look at it, not a whole lot else really deals with the Keldeo quite well. So Zarude gonna have that job on it. With Ghost, you're also able to spin block into treads, so we could see like a dual hazard Carbink. That would be pretty reasonable alongside the Ghost Zarude. And then the rest of it, I mean, it is just a lot of pivots and a Lando Eye, which Lando does look really stellar into this matchup. You could run Scarf as a Gouging Fire check, something faster than Keldeo, faster than Meow that's not Scarf, which I don't know why you would be Scarf Meow in this matchup. It feels like Bandit is, or like Protective Pads is much better, more consistent. And yeah.
Well, and another thing to note too, yeah, actually, with the Ghost Zarude, it kind of it almost acts as a sort of lure for the Meowscarada, because the only ghost resist you have, of course, is the Meowscarada. Now, if you're a very defensive Gouging Fire, that could be your initial response, but there's a potential you could get overwhelmed with like Swords Dance and Taunt if it is that kind of a Zarude set. So I think that it's nice that you have the Ghost, because it's pretty much an unresisted hit. It's like guaranteed damage onto anything. But Meowscarada also has to be wary that, Zarude could just click Knock Off and get rid of its item. And if Meow loses its item, then suddenly that Zapdos becomes a lot more problematic, right?
For sure, for sure. Anything else you want to add for this like team preview? I think we've kind of covered it pretty well.
I love the Bink. I love them bringing the Bink, actually. I think it's got a lot of potential in a matchup like this, right? If you're able to remove the Keldeo, I mean, Iron Defense Body Press, like, unironically, looks very strong. Obviously, there's potential of Flower Trick, but I believe the Carbink is Terra on that roster. And you can see here they're rocking with the Terra Fly, so there could be an angle that they got. Because, like, if you look at Agency's team, with Terra flying and an Iron Defense up, like, the only thing that actually threatens damage is the Electros. Everything else can't really do a lot of damage to it. So that definitely could be an angle they gun for as well, if they don't feel that the Zarude Terra is necessary. Or maybe, let's say, like, Agency shows that he's got boot spam, and the Hazard aren't going to be doing a lot of damage. That might make you want to Terra the Carbink instead.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Terra Zarude, you usually want to go with that guy more often than not.
I hear you, but I mocked Tacticians using this team that Ryan is using, and I literally brought Terra Carbink, and I actually teared it over the Zarude, and it like 6-0'd in the matchup. So it does have its place. It's very fringe, enough, but it can certainly do something. I would say it's a really nice tertiary Terra captain. So
yeah. All right, so let's get into it. I did see someone mention in the chat, Missouri was saying SD Cinderace looks disgusting with Double Edge, which is definitely true. The only normal resist is that Iron Treads. So we could see something like that as well. That's a good shout. And let's see how this goes. Game 1 of finals. All right, we see the Electros versus the Zarude. Now, there's a few options here. Zarude can just go for a knockoff, get rid of the Electros AV, Rocky Helmet, whatever it wants to have, and get the Terra off immediately. Maybe risking a knock of its own, but I don't know. It's kind of up to Ryan if he wants to go for that like spin block hazard angle, get that Terra off early, able to spin block the treads if that's worth staying on the Electros. Alternatively, you can just switch out into maybe the Landorus, maybe the Carbink to start setting up hazards. You have some reasonable switches to the Electros, but we'll see. We go Aloe immediately on Electros on the knockoff, which is interesting. Wouldn't have expected Aloe, but it kind of makes sense because now, after the knockoff, you lose your Window Berry, not the end of the world. But Electros, if it wants to go for like a T-Bolt or something, you are kind of risking a Mirror Coat, and even then, it could just be a slow flip turn, and you just regen that off anyways. Or this could be like a slower Electros, trying to underspeed flip turn, make something else take the hit, although I find that a little bit harder to believe because Electros versus Aloe, you probably want to hit the Aloe with a super effective move. And it is actually slower than the Aloe. I don't know if that's because it's not minus speed Aloe or if this Electros is minus speed itself. We see another knockoff, leading me to believe it maybe was expecting...
I would imagine it's minus speed Eel.
Yeah.
That way you get a slower U-turn on the flip turn.
Yeah, the knockoff is pretty telling there. Like, if you're expecting a flip turn, You probably
You
go
want to
for a
remove another
knockoff.
item.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is probably a slow Electros, which makes sense. We see a Protect on the Aloe, just getting all the way back up to full. And we see a T-Wave revealed by this Electros, which is kind of interesting, because if you T-Wave this Aloe, all of a sudden it can now, once again, get that slow flip turn on the Electros, which is maybe not what you want, but we'll see.
But on the flip side, if you paralyze the Alomomola, that is giving
It is really
a lot
big,
of room
yeah.
for your Keldeo. Yeah, right? Like if you are that subcom mindset you're talking about, you're going to get a lot of extra free turns on the Alomomola.
I think that doesn't make a difference at all, actually. Like, Aloe being paralyzed or not, Keldeo is still going to force a sub up against it more times than not.
Right, but I'm saying it's harder for them to do like the play rough into flip turn, right?
Yeah. True. Alright, and we see a U-turn, so Agency kind of reads the switch out here as Carbon comes in, trying to absorb the T-Wave. And this is going to allow Keldeo in for free, breaks the Sturdy on the Carbink, and now Aloe's going to come in on this Terra Water Keldeo, but I feel like this is definitely a mistake. Is mistake the right word? It's definitely going to lead to a line where this Keldeo is going to be difficult to remove from the field, right? Because Aloe, you see this, you see the sub, you see the Calm Mind. This is completely expected, to be honest. Flip turn, going to do basically no damage to the sub. Now Zarude is going to come in, and here is the question, like, do you Terra here? Because Secret Sword is very possible, but like, will you ever click it into a Terra Ghost guy? I feel like if you're Agency, it's pretty easy to just surf here. And on the other side, it's really hard to not Terra. I feel like the Terra is way more likely than un-Terra. And here, I was wrong. So we see the Zarude just stay normal type and go for a Trailblaze, breaking the sub. So I guess predicts the surf correctly there. Risky play, but it worked out. And now this is going to force out the Keldeo now that the Zarude is faster. And with that 23%, it's basically showing that the Zarude is max Spadef. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. And now we actually see a knockoff on the Electros coming in.
It does also kind of imply that it doesn't have Whip, because I feel like if you had Whip, there was no need to Terra there. You could just stay in and Whip and play reactively. But this kind of indicates that like there isn't an immediate move to threaten the Oko on Keldeo, and so going for the Ghost Terra means that if he does stay in and calls that, then you wouldn't die to the Secret Sword.
I don't know. I see
So
the
we're
Terra
probably gonna
Ghost.
expect,
I
like,
see
SD
this
and
as
Jungle, right?
I see this as like hedging your bets, right? Where you're expecting the Keldeo to switch out, because I don't think Agency is going to sack his 94% Keldeo when, I mean, look at the matchup. Once you force Terra on this Zarude, becomes a very big threat. And so he's expecting the switch out, but at the same time, if Keldeo stays in and just goes for a Secret Sword, he doesn't want to just lose on the spot. So goes for a knockoff, predicts the switch, but also Terra's just in case the Keldeo wants to stay in Secret Sword. I think it's a pretty reasonable cover both options kind of play. And here he is kind of rewarded with a knockoff on the Electros, which is going to remove the Helmet. So Helmet, actually this is not going to be rest talk, obviously, because real knock D-Wave U-turn. The last move is probably going to be Electric Stab if I had to guess. But now this Zarude is Terra'd, which means you don't no longer have like really a great Surf answer, because the Aloe setup fodder, everything else is now at least neutral to Surf. As now Mesprit's going to come in to trade rocks on this Carbink, but we're going to see double hazards going up. And now this Terra Zarude is going to start to pay dividends, right? Because this Iron Treads is going to be really hard pressed to spin versus this Terra Ghost Zarude. So these hazards are probably going to be up for the majority of the game. See a U-turn on
I'm also
this Carbink.
thinking, based on the fact that Mesprit is the rocker here, that Treads might be like a booster set, right? Because like offensively, it's kind of decent here if you're able to get some damage on the Alomomola. And he was kind of like not bringing it in earlier, so I'm wondering if it could be that, or maybe it's just like AV. We'll see here.
Takes hazards. And it's going to get body pressed on the switch, which is, not going to lie, pretty freaking bad. Obviously predicted something more like the Moonblast or something, or maybe another spike to go up, but Ryan with a body press on the switch to Treads, really fantastic call. That's going to mean this Treads is all the way down to 33%, and really the opportunities to spin, not going to be very high. And goes for a Volt Switch, trying to predict the Zarude.
Yo. You ever see a Rock Fairy type force out a Steel Ground type? That's a new one.
Yeah, so true. Like, really in his head at this point. Volt Switch out, and honestly, you only have one real switch in on hazards left.
One more entry point, yeah.
Yeah, especially if another spike goes up. I would expect a body press here, to be honest, but now with Mesprit coming in, I really feel like you can just go for another spike at this point. It feels really hard to U-turn back into the treads on this specific turn. I would be really shocked. And we see an Encore. Okay, so never mind. Free chip on Mesprit at least. And now just stays into Body Press again. Like, there's not really a great option to go into. And you see the Gouging Fire is not boot, so this Body Press plus Hazard is going to do 61%.
Yeah, notice that Bink has done over like 150% damage to his team at this point, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just fucking up the club.
Chip the Mesprit, big damage on the Gouging Fire, double hazards up. What more could you ask, right? Also absorbed the T-Wave at the same time, so I'm not really too bothered by that. Car Beast, yep. There's a reason why I was like the most drafted 2-pointer, at least in DPL, right? I don't know the stats in DCL exactly, but I assume the draft rate is still pretty high on that.
It's basically just a poor man's Diancie that can't really do the offensive sets, but it can do all the like bullshit
defensive stuff,
utility sets.
Yeah, for sure. It still bothers me how Carbink does not evolve into Diancie. Like, I feel like that's got to be the case, right? Surely. And like Love Disc into Alamomola, like they should just like retcon that. I feel like
they should just give Carbink a Mega, and it just Mega evolves into Diancie.
It's just Diancie. Yeah. Oh, Diancie, but the offense and the defense are switched. I mean, that's just Carbink itself, right?
Literally.
Literally. Alright, so either way, we find ourselves with Lando in on that forced Morning Sun from the Gouging Fire. And now we're really threatening with an Earth Power as Electros comes in. Do we predict that? He's been predicting all game, and this is no different. Catches the Electros on the switch with a crunch. He's playing out of his mind at this point, I just want to point out. Every play has been correct. Although risky, yeah. Some of them riskier than others, but always correct, you know, really in his head at this point. And now a follow-up Sludge Wave is going to knock out this Electros, and now we've lost our main ground resist, right? And given that this Lando is not choice locked, we no longer have a switch into Earth Power, because obviously Mesprit going to get followed up by Crunch the next turn. This Lando looking really scary. However, it is slower than 3 Pokemon, so maybe not the end of the world, but still a massive threat if you can get it in versus the Gouging Fire or the Mesprit, which doesn't seem too difficult, to be honest. Now, Keldeo is going to get a free switch in off the back of that sack, and now with the Saruda at 72, can't really switch in on a raw Surf at this point, so it's a little bit of a 50-50 kind of thing, where like, what do you switch to? Maybe it's Aloe and Flip Turn anyways, although that does seem a little bit dangerous to allow a sub in a Calm Mind at this point in the game. Keldeo is taking a lot from hazards though, so we do see the safe Aloe pivot, and the sub does come out, so a Calm Mind almost sure to follow. And there is the Calm Mind. So Aloe gonna get that slow Flip Turn, safe pivot into the Zarude, which now gets a free entry point, and at 66% after leftovers, should be able to take this Surf, break the sub with a Trailblaze, and then proceed to threaten it out with a follow-up move.
Assuming it's very Spadef, which we kind of confirmed earlier based on the Surf damage initially. Yeah. 50 is insane from +1 Terra Water.
Yeah, this shows that this Keldeo is basically no special
very
attack
bulky.
investment. Yeah, very bulky Keldeo. Yeah. Which makes me wonder, like, are we just being like max defense, or is this like max HP, max speed? Really hard to say.
HP. Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, this Zarude is going to force out the Keldeo. Could go for like a Synthesis. Oh, actually, Keldeo stays in. Goes for Surf, and it's only 44%. So yeah, this is the weakest Keldeo of all time and the bulkiest Zarude ever at the same time.
I mean, this is a winning exchange for Ryan, because even if Agency does pull the trigger and go for a Calm Mind, right? You're still faster. You'll still 2-hit KO with the Trailblaze. So in the end, like, this is always a winning exchange for you. You may as well sit here and like heal up.
Yeah, and like even if you just have knockoff into the Keldeo, removing the leftover is such a big deal on a set like this, where it's basically dead for the rest of the game.
Dead. Yeah.
And this Surf is doing a lot. Zarude now just about out of range, so could go for an attack if it wants to. And now we see the Meowscarada pivot on the Power Whip. Does reveal Power Whip, but Agency actually calls the turn exactly correct and gets a little bit of an Agency dodge. Shout out to Blunder.
I feel like Knockoff was more correct there, because based on the Surf rolls, you weren't in danger of dying to the next Surf. And so Knockoff guarantee gets rid of the leftovers, as we were saying. Very strong positioning. And then even if like they switch here, like imagine Meowscarada loses his item here, it's kind of just game over.
Huge deal, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
knock was better, but I definitely can see the vision on why you would click whip there. Obviously, taking another surf, you don't want to do that if you don't have to. Power whip is so far unrevealed, and it seemed like Agency was completely disrespecting it, so I could definitely see why you'd want to power whip there. Although maybe if you wanted to pull the trigger, maybe a turn earlier, right?
The one advantage is that if you KO the Keldeo with the power whip, you keep your Zarude healthy enough such that like
that's the whole
treads can't just nilly-willy spin. Right. So I get it, but
yeah.
Guy like me would have knocked off, just saying.
Yeah, with the power of hindsight analysis, I think knockoff was better. But here, Meowscarada does get a free switch in. Ryan doesn't have any tech or like info on this. We see the hazards. So it could be a Scarf Meowscarada. You definitely don't want to get Scarf knockoff here if you can help it, which obviously you can help it. You have a Carbink at pretty high HP. I don't expect like a Flower Trick to come out. Goes to Aloe instead. And we actually do see a Flower Trick. So really nice play from Agency, trying to bring himself back into this game, because obviously a little bit behind at this point, has to start making some plays and gets that one correct. So Aloe gonna be low HP, and now we get to see, is this Meowscarada choiced? Because I feel like if you're not choiced, it's a very free U-turn. I would expect Cinderace to want to come in here, or maybe the Zapdos. We'll see. We actually just go for another Flower Trick and the Aloe goes down, which, to be honest, I totally understand. The Aloe does look like a little bit of setup fodder for a lot of guys, kind of outlived its usefulness, and it's just going to go down to the safe sack. Now Zapdos is going to be the entry point, and we see it take Rock, so no heavy-duty boots. We're going to see Mesprit come in on the Hurricane, which is going to miss, so a lot of misses here. Another miss with Hurricane, and we get Encored into that Hurricane. Another Hurricane comes out, and a Healing Wish goes off from the Mesprit. Now, who is going to be a recipient of this Healing Wish?
I mean, Treads?
Yeah, Treads, and go for the spin here. The Zarude is pretty weak right now, so seems pretty simple to go Treads and try to get that spin off now rather than later. I don't think Zarude really has any business coming in this turn. So we see the Cinderace come in. Another Volt Switch, man. He's obviously predicting the Zarude to come in here.
Right. Well, to be fair, if you're assuming it's not Yachi on the Landorus, then you can just make the Volt Switch play pretty freely, because even if it does come in, you can just
Ice Spinner the next turn, yeah.
Right.
Can we talk about the whip and double cane dodge? Look, it can happen. Spawns. But the Volt Switch, I just can't agree with, I don't think. I think that was your spin opportunity. The Zarude cannot really switch in there. If it does, well, you say, man, you got me, you know?
I would say knockoff is like a guaranteed
pretty safe,
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that accomplishes something out of the turn. It catches a root if it greeds, right? It removes potential Yachi from Landorus, and it would remove Boots from Cinderace, and all three of those are valuable towards your end game. So I think knockoff was maybe just a better click, but
I don't know, I really think spin was the answer there, because I mean, if you look at it like here, obviously it would work out. You spin into EQ the Cinderace, and it's like you're so advantaged in that exchange, but also like if you go Zarude on like a knockoff or an Earthquake, I think you just lose to Keldeo, right? If you look at the game state, it looks really hard, you know? And also getting rid of the hazards is like so important for this Gouging Fire, right? I feel like Gouging Fire is like a really big threat. Since this is not Scarf Lando, you're able to get a DD with this Gouging Fire, super deadly in this end game, especially of Iron Head for Carbink. I feel like it's like way too much of an upside if you spin here and you get it off.
Or even just Earthquake, you have that.
Yeah, that's fair as well. I mean, here we're going to see Keldeo come in on the Cinderace, take more hazards, but it is going to force out the Cinderace. Into Carbink is the sack. And we see a Protect. So now the whole set is revealed, but this Protect, I mean, if we take a look here.
Genius. No, it's genius. If you're expecting the sack, no, think about it. That way you get an extra turn of leftovers, bro.
If you're expecting the sack, you should definitely Calm Mind here.
Well, I mean, yes, but
okay, if you,
I don't know, maybe
if you Calm Mind on like Cinderace going for an HJK or something,
or Gunk Shot, you're kind of cooked, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think he wasn't willing to make a hard play, but he was like, he knew that just attacking raw wasn't correct.
I think probably the idea was Protect will scout the Cinderace move, because if it's going to switch, it's probably going to U-turn, right? And if it stays in, it's probably HJKing. So Protect kind of covers both at no cost, You just get leftovers out of it. But here it seems like the Cinderace does not have U-turn, which, I mean, makes sense, honestly, if you think about it. What do you need on this Cinderace? You probably want, if we go with what was said in the chat earlier, SD Double Edge, Pyro Ball, and then maybe Quick Attack. Like, that could definitely be a set.
Here? Did this just win?
I think it would have been really close.
Or at least forced like 2, right?
Yeah, because this Zarude is at 48 after
it's gonna die.
chip.
Yeah.
We saw the rolls earlier. Like, this clicks Surf a lot into this Zarude. We
It
saw
does, like,
a range of 44 to 53.
Yeah.
That was the range we saw. So being at 48, really dangerous, right? So I think if you're Agency, maybe that was the turn to pull the trigger on Calm Mind. But at the same time, yeah, if Cinderace stays in to go for an HJK or something, again, really dangerous. And actually, we'll revisit this turn later, but there's some revealed tech that would make it maybe a little bit less desirable to Calm Mind here.
Well, a guy like me always goes for sub fishing for Para, personally.
To be honest,
I'm so far
that's
behind.
kind of true, yeah.
Yeah, like
No, I
would
get
do
that so much, actually. Now as Zarude gets the free switch in, or honestly, like, just Calm Mind on the Carbink, right? What's the worst that could happen? A body press?
Well, body press is going to do at least like 30, right?
Yeah, but you have the opportunity to protect for lefties. You have, you get that +1. Now this exact sequence can't really happen, right? I think with Calm Mind Protect and the fact that it's paired, maybe that was your opportunity to find the setup turns, but at the same time, you're going to run out of HP eventually. You'll be in Cinderace range, Zapdos as well. And now this Zarude can get a Synthesis off, and I think this is the turn where the window closes for Keldeo. You're never going to get Zarude that weak ever again. It's just not going to end up happening. You're going to see the Zapdos come in on the knockoff. We reveal that it's actually a Scarf Zapdos. But now that the Zarude is healthy, you can afford to lose the item on Zapdos. Or like, just lose the Zapdos entirely here to 2 knockoffs. And it's really not the end of the world. But like, yeah. I don't know, like the Keldeo versus the Car, I feel like that might have been the opportunity for Agency. Because if you get that Calm Mind up, all of a sudden Scarf Zapdos, not one-shotting this Keldeo. I think you need to Volt Switch. And then like, at that point, you're protecting on the Volt Switch. You're taking a Volt Switch at +1 SPDEF. Something's getting sacked, right? And you can Calm Mind on the sack for another round of lefties. You get Protect for another round of lefties. Then you Surf. Then another I feel like you can definitely tank the next Zapdos hit, right?
Yeah, for sure. And another problem with losing Zapdos too is that now your entire game plan hinges on keeping the Landorus around. Otherwise, you just lose the Gouging Fire. Because like with Zapdos, at least you could potentially like T-Wave, Scarf T-Wave on like a DD. Or you could just go for Hurricane and like force it low. Now it's all on Landorus. So if Landorus goes down, then Zarude Gouging Fire does just sit and win.
Yeah, at this point, I think Agency is pivoting from a Keldeo win path to a Gouging Fire win path, for sure.
Right.
But the problem with that is there's 2 hazards up and it's not boots. So it's coming in at basically half HP at this point. And what do you really DD on at half HP? Nothing really. Maybe the Zarude. Maybe the Zarude.
Knockoff only does like 40, right?
Actually, yeah, the Zarude is probably your main target, huh?
Yeah. It's kind of free on Zarude, no?
You're right, actually. So maybe the idea is eventually you'll find a way to get Keldeo in, and then Keldeo, just stay in until you die. The only thing that can revenge you is the Zarude. And once that Zarude revenges the Keldeo, that's your setup opportunity for Gouging Fire. I feel like that's the game plan you have to go for at this point. So you could try to get a spin-off, that's fine, but either way, right? I guess you could do like a similar thing with Treads where you just spin forever, but at the same time, when's your Treads coming in? Not on Lando, not on Cinderace, so... There's a little bit of a dicey end game. So Meowscarada versus Cinderace. Can go for a knockoff here, get rid of the boots on Cinderace, I feel like. But at the same time, this Meowscarada is kind of dangerous in this endgame. Maybe you want to keep it. I can see like a U-turn here, maybe? No U-turn? We can see a Treads sack here on the HJK. So maybe if you protected on the HJK earlier, maybe that would have been like pretty impressive. But now Gouging Fire comes in. And I don't know about...
This is what we talked about.
Yeah.
No, DD right here. You got to go for it, right? Like you probably live HJK if you're defensive.
I talked with Agency about this ahead of time, right? I feel like the Cinderace does have a pretty strong possibility of carrying Taunt to avoid this exact situation. That being said, the set I suggested that it might be is like a Blaze kind of like Wisp taunt Super Fang kind of thing, where you Super Fang the Gouging Fire and then you taunt it and you're like Bizdef Rocky Helmet kind of thing on the Cinderace with Court Change. I think that's the set that I gave him, where it's like if you didn't bring Carbink and you wanted to bring Cinderace as your rocker, right? You could do that sort of thing. And here is the taunt, preventing the Dragon Dance, and now I think we're just cooked, right? Like, what do you do in this situation as agency? You have to bank on like a Meowscarada endgame, I feel like. Triple Axel,
If I'm agency, I
knock
just
off
start
the
putting
Zarude.
fries in the bag.
Yeah, it's looking really tough right now. We see a U-turn, so last move is almost certainly going to be Pyro Ball. And the Heat Crash into the Lando. I mean, if we had Scale Shot, then that was probably the click there, but I mean, pretty clearly we didn't have it. And now it's Lando in. This should be, I was going to say a Keldeo entry point, but
I would think so too.
looks like
Yeah.
Meowscarada is going to be the switch instead.
I guess the worry is that if you go Keldeo and you kill this, then he just gets into Zarude and gets the Trailblaze off, and then you
Yeah.
just lose instantly.
It's like a hard place
You're
and a
fucked
hard
either way.
place, right?
Yeah. That's my favorite expression, yeah. Stuck between a hard place and a hard place, yeah.
Because, I mean, where is the boulder? Let's be real. Okay, we see a foul play on some, like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know, just hoping you're slower. It goes for an SD and you turbo crit. I get it. Obviously not going to be the case. Meowscarada goes down, and now it's going to be Zarude last versus Keldeo. Obviously, Zarude got this in the bag. And so Agency going to lose game 1, and ZFG going to go up 1-0. Now, I'd like to remind the crowd that I did make a little bit of a bet last stream, where I said, if ZFG 5-0s, I will eat a raw onion on stream. Remember that? Well,
Foreshadowing.
see, the problem is, Agency is the one guy where I was super confident in. Like, this guy has been pounding all season. I thought his matchup was honestly quite great, and I know he grinded the hell out of this matchup. So losing this one, I was like, ooh, that's a little bit rough for the onion bet. But it's okay, there's still 4 more opportunities. And here we're going to have Yurdunk versus Mind Gaming. Yurdunk, Helicopter, is going to be on Judgment Day, and then Mind Gaming using this Torrenting Lu team from ZFG. Gouging will always fail in the end. Yo, Gouging Fire in the clutch. Ah, this is so tough. Get the onion ready, buddy. Well, we'll have to find out. I mean, for all we know, I might have an onion on my desk right here. Because obviously I know the results, but spoilers, right? Oh boy, it's Torn Ting time. Yeah. I mean, in DCL, every single Torn is paired with a Ting Lu, which is kind of funny. This team, very unique. It's kind of a ZFG flavor to be Corviknight Toxapex. They have 2 teams with this combination, and both of them are some of the highest performing SV drafts in the entire tournament. So finding that Pex is kind of like anti-meta at the moment. A lot of pivot into breaker kind of things in the metagame, and Pex is like, honestly, like a natural check to a lot of those guys.
Well, it's a combination of anti-meta, but also like insane price value.
Yeah, 7
because
points.
There's nothing at Toxapex's point range that has all of the utility and like defensive capabilities of anything else in that same format or that same tier, right?
Besides maybe Cyclozar, which this team also features, but it's benched in this game, right? So this,
Is it
this team,
Cyclozar rode him last?
Yes, it is. So this team, kind of insane value for money that they got in the in the drafting phase. So there's no surprise that it's like popping off this hard. Obviously, Torrenting Lu, Dragonite, Tried and True Core, and then you put that defensive duo of Corviknight Toxapex to supplement stuff like the Ting Lu and the Torn. All of a sudden, it becomes almost impossible to break, and at the same time, you have the offensive pressure from the Torn, the Dragonite, the Hearth Flame, which I feel like is super underrated at the moment. And yeah, really strong team.
I
But
think
obviously,
a big reason why Earthflame is like underrated and I think unexplored is because you kind of have to baby it, right? Like you
do.
need really solid removal, and that's the biggest gripe a lot of people have with SV is that removal is scarce, and so if you aren't able to effectively like keep the field clear for it, it can sometimes feel like a liability because you're item locked and you're weak to rocks, right?
100%. It
And
does.
in a metagame where hazard stack is so prevalent, that doesn't feel great.
Yeah, I was thinking it does kind of feel a little bit like a Zard Y in old gens, right? Where it's really weak to hazards, but if you can keep those hazards off, it will be getting a kill every time it's in, more or less.
Fucking Thanos.
Yeah, literally Thanos. Like the fire grass coverage, I mean, we've seen this all the way back in ADV. Really standard coverage there, and it's still great like 20 years later in SV. Obviously, the mask boost as well off the back of 120 base attack gives it, I believe, effectively base 156 attack. I remember running the numbers at some point. I think it was 156 if you're like an adamant ogre pawn, like the equivalent. So it's so good.
Oh wait, you mean base attack?
Yeah, like the effective base after the mask boost.
Yeah.
So
Ridiculous.
strong. But on the other side, right? Yeah, literally. On the other side, though, we do see this Terra Hydrapple Yurdunk combination. This is his signature mon. He's the guy that put Hydrapple on the map. And now, like, we've seen it really pop off the whole season. This team, I believe, going into the finals was 4-1. So this is a clash of really strong teams going head-to-head. Was it 4-1 or was it 4-2? It's one of those going into finals. I don't remember exactly. But regardless, very positive for both of these drafts. And these players, right? Wow, and you put Yurdunk on the map, so did you put Hydrapple on the map? Some are saying this. Some are
by
saying
the transitive
this.
property, that does track. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Alright, so this team, though, very much more of an offensive build, right? You have the Samurott Spikes, you have Gliscor as like a setup opportunity. It's not Terra Gliscor, which is like definitely the scarier version of it. Much more enables those like double dance sets, swords dance, like Terra Normal Facade kind of thing. But this normal Gliscor, as a non-Terra, I mean, usually it's just going to be a defensive set with Earthquake Toxic Spikes, or maybe Stealth Rock. He's used a lot of Stealth Rock this season, if I remember correctly, on this guy, and obviously this Mouse Hold, another signature mon of Yurdunks. So the Mouse Hold in this kind of matchup with a Corviknight, a Ting Lu, Toxapex kind of thing, going to be really hard to break with Population Bomb, so I'd more so expect like a Taunt Super Fang kind of set. Something that I think Mousehold is really underexplored in, that sort of role as a support mon. Remember in Clash of Kings, a low tier format, we had a Mousehold in that, and we were basically spamming like a defensive set with Super Fang, and it was always really fantastic because
L5,
just this thing existing forces Rocky Helmets to exist.
Respectively, the reason that the Taunt Super Fang Mousehold is unexplored is because there's probably like 8 different Pokemon on the board that do those 2 moves, but just way better.
Yes. But the thing that Mousehold does is it's one of those Pokemon that forces prep even from the bench, right? It's just so strong. And with the threat of like tidy up into Population Bomb sweep, I mean, we've seen it this season, right? Where Mousehold just takes over an endgame. It's just so strong. It is frail, but you really have to respect that Population Bomb. And here there's a Corviknight, so maybe you can just naturally check it just without much extra effort, but still, it's a dangerous Pokemon. Catch this +1 Terra Normal 10-hit Pop Bomb, literally. That guy kills 2 Dragonites. Like, yeah, there's like a Valiant on here, one of the best Spike abusers in the game, as well as Glamora, right? Really hazard offense focused team with Hydrapple as that sort of glue mon. Can kind of check whatever you need it to while also exerting offensive pressure throughout the whole game with the regen. So let's get into this game a little bit. We have Terra Dragon on the Hydrapple, which is obviously going to boost up those Fickle Beams and Draco Meteors. We see Terra Ghost on the Mousehold, so more so leaning into the fact that this is probably going to be a defensive Mousehold, or at least utility, right? Spread some T-Waves. Does it get T-Wave? I feel like it does. I feel like I've seen that before.
Mouse, yeah, it does.
Yeah. So it could be like trying to T-Wave the Corviknight, make it slower than the Hydrapple, then all of a sudden it's a little bit harder to deal with.
All right, let's be real. Yeah, make it slower, but we all know the real reason why you click Thunderwave in SV. Yeah. All right, it's for free turn.
Can't move. It can't move.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. And then on the other side, we do see a Terra Ground Torn, which offensively does look really nice. You often do see the Terra Ground Torn when facing the Glamora matchup. That being said, it is going to weaken it a little bit into the Hydrapple and the Samurott, so a little bit give and take there. Probably going to see an Icy Wind on here, so you get that Gliscor coverage. Outside of that, probably just Bleak Windstorm or Hurricane covers the rest of the team quite well. Could see a knock or U-turn in the last slot, or maybe even nasty plot, depending on if it's AV or, you know, Life Orb, something like that. All right, let's get into the game. Leading off with the Mouse Hold into the Ogerpon. Now, Ogerpon is slower and one shot by Pop Bomb, so I would really expect to see a Corviknight switch here. It feels really safe. But at the same time, you could maybe read that this Mouse Hold is probably not going to click Pop Bomb into a Helmet Corviknight immediately. Really, it's actually slower than the Ogerpon, funny enough. So we see our first recorded Trick Room Mouse Hold. Alright, Spike does go up, and we see the T-Wave immediately. And there's a Super Fang, so it is a defensive Mouse Hold. Horn Leech, not even to it KOing, adds more to that.
Something interesting is that no respect at all for Population Bomb turn 1. Obviously, that would have just obliterated the Ogerpon. But I believe I overheard later on after the series that Zing had basically told Mind Gaming that, you know, if you see the mouse, do not respect that it could be Population Bomb.
Yeah, which is like the right call, obviously.
Right. Like, it'll never be that into potential Corviknight. Or at least not, they wouldn't lead with it, right? Like, if it's leading, then you know it's not that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good call to make. And now we're going to see a Glimmora pivot in on the next Horn Leech / Ivy Cudgel. I'd expect Ivy Cudgel because Horn Leech does look like it doesn't kill. And there is that Ivy Cudgel. So going to get a T-Spike up here, force that Toxapex in maybe earlier than it wanted to. Now Gliscor going to pivot in on this Ting Lu, which reveals Boots, which is going to be pretty nice into this Hazard Stack team. Pretty standard stuff. I would expect to see a lot of Boots on this team regardless, so Boots Ting Lu, maybe a Boots Pex as well. Would not be surprised to see either of them. Right, and Gliscor is going to get that Toxic Orb activated. Catches the Ting Lu really well, and now a Taunt is going to come out trying to prevent Ting Lu from just trading hazards as Torn makes his way onto the field. Now threatening an Icy Wind here. But Gliscor could take that if it wants to, just stay in, go for a Toxic, or maybe a Stealth Rock. And it is going to elect to do that 53, so this is a specially defensive Gliscor or a very weak Torn, one or the other, maybe even both, as Stealth Rock is going to go up here. But at the same time, right, this is going to limit the Ogerpon, but I would really expect Defog Corviknight on this kind of team, especially considering you're facing Glimmora, Samurott, Gliscor. I really expect Defog, and it doesn't look like it's too difficult to get a Defog off. Maybe you can just spam Taunt. We do see a Taunt from Gliscor. We might see a Taunt from Samurott. We're probably going to see a Taunt from Mousehold, actually. So, honestly, with all three of those considered, maybe it's a little bit trickier than not to get that Defog off. Maybe you have to Defog on Hydrapple, but even then, right, that does seem very doable. The next Icy Wind comes out, another 53, and now this time we're going to see a slow U-turn on that Torn into Hydrapple, trying to get that Terra off. And now what's going to take this Terra Dragon hit? It's going to be Toxapex, which is Boots, and a nasty plot comes out. Now Hydrapple is naturally faster than Toxapex, so a Haze could potentially be going second, and a +2 Terra Dragon Draco I think will knock out this Toxapex from full, even if it's like specially defensive, right? With the Toxapex, this is a NASCAR Toxapex, or a Trick Room Hydrapple, right? But from talking after the game, they did reveal that this Hydrapple did have a pretty reasonable amount of speed. So this Toxapex is really, really schmoovin'.
I think he had like 52 EVs or something, and I believe they found out that the Pex was only like 4 stat points higher.
Oh, man.
So like,
yeah,
you just weren't aggro enough with your creep, Sag.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this completely warps and changes the dynamic of the game, right? Because if you get the Draco off here with the +2, you just kill the fucking Toxapex,
yeah,
and then at that point,
it's dead.
you just rinse and repeat with Hydrapple over and
yeah.
over again, and the game's over, yeah.
Yeah.
So the foresight there to have that speed, the amount of speed on it is really, really good stuff there. That's literally game saving.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta move the slider till it feels right, and for Mind Gaming, it was feeling fantastic.
Bro, this is why I tell people, if you're gonna aggro creep something, like, don't be like, oh, I'm just gonna go 16 EVs over, you know, like, dude, no.
I never do that.
I'd be doing like 64 type shit. You know what
Dude,
I mean?
I'd be like, what if it's like 112 speed? You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like
do I need EVs anywhere else? Like, speed is so important, and here you get to see like just how important it is, right?
People try to like
changes the game.
Yeah, they try to like greed their EVs, and it's like, I get it. You know, you want to optimize as much as you can, but at the same time, like, the sequencing is the most important part. assuming you're not playing like crap, right? And so like, for example, again here in this exact matchup, had you had the speed, the game was over.
Yeah, literally. Like, what is mind gaming even supposed to do? But
There's no Terra Fairy, there's nothing. It's just Jove.
But unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. So Yurdunk going to have to go back to the drawing boards, finds another way to break through this, because this Pex is not going down into this Hydrapple. We're probably going to see a recover here, as we see Mousehold eat the citrus with the cheek pouch. Actually, a Toxic coming out, which makes sense. He'll hit the next Draco, no problem. Yeah, and now Ogerpon gonna switch in on the Thief, which is super funny, honestly. So this is obviously trying to steal a Rocky Helmet from the Corviknight, maybe. Maybe take the boots from Toxapex, but obviously doesn't find its mark, as Ogerpon is going to be the switch in. And now we do see that taunt, which context clues we probably could have figured out. But it is going to stop this next spike from going up, which is pretty important. And now Hydrapple is able to come in on this Ogerpon and again forces Pex in another nasty plot, forcing another haze. At this point, I think Yurdunk is more so fishing for a crit at this point. Is pretty free, may as well. And now on the forced recover, you're going to get that switch into Samurott to start laying up hazards. Maybe go for a knockoff on Corv first time, but I could totally see a Ceaseless Edge coming out, as we do see that Ceaseless Edge, and it is Rocky Helmet Corviknight as expected. Oh, someone leaked? Uh-oh.
No, it's not a leak. No, okay. I remember I was talking with Yurnuk a couple days ago, and he told me that he got the pace or he got the speed on the Pex, and that it was like literally only 4 stat points faster. So I don't know if it was leaked per se, but somehow it got out there.
He probably just asked Mind himself, like, please, I need to know.
Or that was Yurdunk, like, I don't know, like coping or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And here is that taunt trying to prevent that defog, but Mind Gaming, I mean, he sees the writing on the wall. You see taunt Mousehold, you see taunt Gliscor. It's probably going to be taunt Samurott, so calls that immediately with a body press. And that's going to be, actually interesting enough, not a 2-8k on the Samurott, because this looks to be physically defensive Citrus Berry Samurott. Because how else are you explaining a body press doing 36? I don't know. Kind of crazy. And we're going to see another Ceaseless Edge, not a knockoff. So it looks like we're just going for max layers, but you're not able to get up the 3rd layer either way. So an Ice Beam comes out, which is, about as strong and can't miss, so I get it. Now this Corviknight is basically on death's door. It's going to be at 11% after hazards. So Mind Gaming is going to have to find an opportunity to get Corviknight in exactly versus a Hydrapple, right? Everything else, no good. And you have to catch it exactly the right turn, because if you get it wrong, you can't switch in again. And these hazards being up, maybe you can start knocking things off with Gliscor, although maybe it's not knockoff. I don't know, it could be Earthquake. All of a sudden, maybe these hazards are going to start doing something.
I'm wondering if Yurdunk should have just gone for the Ceaseless Edge, so that he intentionally died to the helmet, and then that way you could put something on the field to threaten the Corvi and maybe force a sack. Because now they're allowed to go into Torn, right? And there's nothing, you can't threaten an immediate KO. So I'm almost wondering if like hitting yourself into the helmet was actually more optimal there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Because it would have done similar. I guess the one worry is if you miss, then like it's fucking over. But
yeah,
I feel like you're behind and you have to make some kind of play to like keep yourself in the game, right? Especially knowing that the Drapple is slower.
Yeah. Right. Well, either way, that's not the world we live in right now. We see Torn in and Hydrapple going to be the response. Obviously, Torn not going to Terror there. Just going to go straight to Toxapex as he has been doing the whole game. Yurdunk not going to bother with a Nasty Plot, just goes hard for the Draco, which is going to force recover. So now Gliscor finds its way onto the field, and now it's just going to be a U-turn, so it gets a little bit of Poison Heal in before going Mousehold on a Surf there. Now threatening a Thief, so Ogerpon is actually going to be sacked off to avoid losing the boots on Toxapex. I mean, I think like that's probably the right play. And now Torn's going to come in. Oh, and Hydrapple comes. If this is a U-turn, if that was a U-turn, that could have been the defog opportunity. All right, goes for
But
the
it doesn't
Draco
even look
Meteor.
like the defog is that important, right? Because look, you got boots Torn, you got boots.
That's true.
Ting Lu and Boots Pex, I feel like you're really just the only guy you'd be fogging for is the Ogerpon. He's already dead. So
And maybe it's
I guess
not worth...
if the D Knight is not Boots, then that would be your one reasoning, right?
Maybe it's like Banded D-Knight, which is pretty reasonable. You want the strong E-speed into something like Valiant. But
Right.
at the same time, DD just as likely, right? And now Gliscor gonna try to pivot in on the Toxapex Recover, gets caught by a Surf. But now this is gonna be an entry point for the Valiant. Now this Toxapex is a little bit low, so even after regen, it's not gonna be able to take too much more like Draco Meteors and stuff. So Valiant in is gonna apply a little bit of pressure, but yeah, it is Boots Dragonite, so no need to defog. And we see a Swords Dance on an Iron Head. It reveals Iron Head and almost surely going to be E-Speed. So this Valiant really not panning out there. Can't really switch because it's dead to hazards at that point. So the Iron Head reveal going to be really a big deal here as Hydrapple once again hits the field. We see a Nasty Plot. Probably just going to see a Haze here as Draco comes out. Does 57 and now probably going to see a switch out. It just stays
Now watch
in.
this drive.
Yeah. So Hydrapple
It's
just
coming.
fishing for crits at this point. You need some sort of out versus this Toxapex. At this point, everything kind of doesn't break it. So Pex should just solo this endgame. See a Mortal Spin, just gets rid of the spike. Fair enough, poisons the Ting Lu. Now Hydrapple, once again going to pivot in as the rocks go up, so nothing really changed besides getting that poison on Ting, which is still good. And now Draco comes out, we have one more chance to crit. One Draco Meteor PP comes out, and...
Booyah.
Chat, are we back? Now there is something to be said where this last Draco, I feel like, is a pretty simple Corv sack, or at least like 2 Dracos ago, right? Just sack Corv. I get that
Considering you
pressure
literally
sack.
don't need the defog.
Yeah. And then now your Pex completely walls, right? Maybe you don't want to mess around with like Nasty Pawn on the switch, but at the same time, like Pex comes in later, just
You care?
hazes. You're
He's
still
coming in
risking the
haze.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So risks the last crit and he gets it. And now it's a little bit interesting, right? Because this Hydrapple reveals Nasty Plot, Draco Meteor. We don't know the last 2 moves, but at this point, what kills the Hydrapple? If this Dragonite is not like Dragonclaw or Outrage, I mean, this could be a little bit dangerous in the end game. The Corviknight's low. We're gonna have to see what coverage this Hydrapple has. If it has like Fickle Beam, which I don't think so, because you probably would have clicked that over Draco Meteor a couple times versus the Toxapex, but still. Switches out to reset the minus special attack and get some regen. Hydrapple coming back in. Takes 45 from Bleak Wind as it goes for a Nasty Plot. Do we live the next one? Is 45 a high roll? Wow, we're gonna dodge a Bleak Wind. Okay, we're back in the game as a Recover comes out.
Wait, did you see that on the replay? The Bleak one was so inaccurate, Shodan didn't even register
Right?
to the right. It just didn't even show it.
Torn was like not even close. And now a 44 comes out. Useless speed drop, but now another Nasty Plot comes out and we see 41, so a lower roll. Gonna allow this Recover to go out. And we're gaining HP. Bleakwind can miss, as it does there.
Oh yeah.
And Hydrapple gonna go back to full HP. I'm guessing you get to +6 here.
I think you want to stay healthy, right? Yeah.
I
You're
feel
gonna
like-
2-ko anyways. Even that +4, you don't OHKO the Torn, so you need to like make use of saving your recovers, I feel like. And by Giga Draining, you save recovers.
Yeah,
Right, because
I
if
guess,
you
yeah.
if you Nasty Plot again, then you have to spend another like 3 recovers to get back to
yeah.
full.
No, I get
Whereas
it.
in this,
I get it.
Yeah, you're still 2-koing regardless. So
All right, best case scenario, you end up at basically full HP with 4 recovers left. Now,
That's
Corviknight
really the best
does
you could
get a
ask for,
switch
yeah.
in, though, and the thing is, Corviknight with pressure and a 4 times resist to Giga Drain, it's going to be rough. Here, I think you have to go for the Nasty Plot,
Well-
get all the way boosted. There you go.
it's rough, but the problem is that as Corviknight, you eventually have to roost, and when you roost, you lose your 4x.
Yeah,
it becomes 2x, and then you're just getting flattened. So
Yeah, at the same time, though, you're going to be wasting quite a few Giga Drain PP, and then
At
not only
least,
that, the
like,
Dragonite
3.
also 4x resists with multi-scale as
Right.
well, potentially, if you have Roost. So it does seem PP stallable, but then you see the Iron Head. Like, oh, this doesn't even have defog in the first place, which, I mean, you have 4 boots, so I get it. Not only that, the Hearth Flame was a lead, so And here we see the Giga Drain come out. Obviously going to knock out the core from that range. And now we have 10 Giga Drains left. Obviously, Ting Lu can't 1v1 the Hydrapple, but maybe the Dragonite can. We're going to find out here. Dragonite comes in, and we see Iron Head is the only move to hit it. So can Hydrapple bring this one back from the brink of death? We see Giga Drain does 30%, which means he roost, you have to roost here. Doesn't roost. Actually reveals Ice Spinner, so I don't know why we didn't click that the first time. But it looks like we don't have roost. We're out of range of the next Ice Spinner. Dude.
That's tough.
That is tough, man.
That is so tough, man. And it's like, I mean, obviously, you have to establish that your Dunk had to get lucky to even get into this position.
Yeah.
Not only did he have to crit Pex on the final Draco Meteor, he also had to get basically all of those dodges with the Tornadus, because at any point, if it connects 2 in a row and it gets a high roll, you're dead, right?
Well,
so he did get really lucky to even get to this
that
spot.
first turn, that's true. I think the other turns, it's not true. You just have to use a little bit more recovers. But when you're spamming that many Bleak Winds, you're bound to miss a few. So I don't consider that like any big hacks out of normal. But obviously the crit on Toxpex gonna be paid back with a crit on the Hydrapple. So we could call that justice if you want. Obviously, super crushing in the end game if you're a Judgment Day player, or if you're me trying to not eat an onion. But wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Comeback time.
Power Gem on the Dragonite. We see the Ting Lu come in. Now here's the thing, right? I don't know if anyone's trolling here, but we see Yurnik goes for the forfeit. And let me direct your attention to the chat here.
Like, bro. I just love that Jake's in the chat. He says, do show set or I'll kill myself. And you know what's fun is that if he actually wasn't EQ, that your Dunk does, I believe, win this because
he does because of the poison.
Power Gem and Poison will take out Ting Lu before the Ruins can miss, right? Like, Ruination can kill. For those who don't know, if you're on 1 HP and you get hit by a Ruination, you will die. But it's just funny to me that they were trolling here. I'm pretty sure they're trolling. I think later it's confirmed it did have EQ.
Yeah.
But could you imagine in like,
dude, imagine like the show set, and it's double hazard Ruin Whirlwind.
Like, if I was your Dunk, I would probably
you would have to end it all.
Discord.
Yeah.
Never play again.
Just like move to Montana, change your name. Like, I don't know why I said Montana there, but hey, it works. Yeah. So, yeah, never forfeit a finals game like this, because like, damn. So, 2-0 for ZFG. A reminder, there's stakes here for me as well. If they 5-0 in finals, I have to eat a raw onion on stream. So here I'm like, okay, okay, we're still fine. We're still fine. 3 more to go, right? And here we have Jake versus Undead. Jake is going to be on Judgment Day, Undead for ZFG. And let's talk about these teams real quick. So Jake running this kind of like, I don't know if I would call it Volturn offense. It's like Lando and Infernape as like U-turners into like Mamoswine as the main breaker, with some like really nice defensive, while also offensive options.
This team looks like some shit you would have seen Blunder load up in a Fajita back in like 2018.
Yeah. No, that's actually so true. Yeah, you got the Lando T to carry everything, and then just
the Shipmon,
you put the Mamoswine in the thumbnail with like it doing 100% to a Toxapex. Yeah.
Yeah. Textbook.
Literally textbook. Eat the onion. We'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, lots of good colors here. They've been like really popping up with this team as well. Has a very much a winning record going into the finals. It's Mega Sceptile, so you have your fast Mega. You have like a pretty good defensive while still hitting really hard core with the Lano T and the Tapu Fini and a Metagross. Like those three, really great at taking hits and dishing them back. If you look at this matchup, we see this Metagross, right? This Metagross, really big threat here because the only steel resist is a Slowbro, and that has a few ways of getting past. You can either like trick it, a Choice Band, or you could go for a Choice Band Explosion. And once the Slowbro takes rocks, it's actually in range of an Adamant Choice Band Explosion more often than not. So it's like a favorable roll for Metagross. And at that point, I mean, Slowbro is also the only fire resist out of this starting 6. So now Infernape becomes a big issue. So the combination of Infernape and Mamoswine and like Metagross, really dangerous combination here.
I'm also noticing that like Lando and Mamoswine form a really dangerous offensive core.
The double
They threaten everything for they threaten everything for lethal damage, puts a tremendous amount of pressure onto Slowbro to respond to both of them defensively. Right, Mamoswine can lure out the Slowbro if it's like a mixed set with like Freeze Dry. So there's a lot that Undead has to be wary of, especially playing around those two Pokemon. And I believe that Landorus is also their Z captain.
I believe it's Lando and Infernape.
Alright, so that just adds another element of, fuckery into the mix. Slowbro could randomly just get deleted, by a Tectonic Rage or by like a Black Hole Eclipse, so you gotta be mindful of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could also see something like a Nasty Plot Infernape just Grass Knot the Slowbro into Oblivion, right? I mean, what else are you going to go into on Infernape other than Slowbro? That leads me to believe this Slowbro might have to have some sort of tech for the Nasty Plot Infernape. You can't really just be max Fizdef in this matchup, which, again, makes Metagross even better as like an offensive set. So this offense does a really good job at working together to break past this like main roadblock being the Slowbro. On the other side, though, there's offensive threats for sure. See this Mienshao, this Kyurem Black, this Torn T, all of them really threatening Mons specifically here. And then obviously the Mega Sableye trying to keep hazards off for these rock-weak Pokemon, the Torn and the Kyurem. So obviously this team does have some pretty nice synergy and a lot of regen. So if you go into like a really long game versus this team, more often than not, you're going to end up on the short side of the stick. All right. Anything else you want to add to this like team preview, or we can just get into it?
All I know is that Zing glazes the fuck out of that draft that Undead is using. He said it's like the best Usum creation ever, and that he's just like a turbo genius for drafting it, and that it's flawless and it can't be defeated.
That's super cap. The best Usum team ever is the Mega Gyarados one from Aster J, DPL season, whatever that was, 7, I think.
Are we being genuine or trolling?
No, I'm super serious. That is the best draft ever.
I have never seen that, so I'll have to take your word for it. But I just know that I'd much rather give that credit to Aster than I would give it to Zing for this bullshit.
Yeah, me too, bro.
I'm not gonna sit here and glaze Mega Sableye, bro. Like,
literally,
get a job.
Literally. All right. So leading off, we have this Lano T versus the Mega Sableye. So probably just gonna see a Mega immediately. Could see a Will-O-Wisp. Honestly, you could just not Mega, go for a Prankster Will-O-Wisp on this Lando. I feel like that's pretty reasonable, honestly. However, it doesn't cover like a hard switch to Infernape or like Feeny. So
all right, but does it cover the turn 1 Z Earth Power?
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't.
Thoughts?
We're gonna see the immediate Terra, and we do see the Tectonic Rage immediately, and a Foul Play come out, does 56%. Is this special? Tell me.
It's weird, right? Because like low-key, I'm almost wondering that now. I didn't think that initially when I saw it, but 56 is kind of low. Wouldn't Foul Play do a little bit more? Like Diggersby Foul Play to Landorus T does like almost 50, right?
Well, Diggersby gets
stab
super
huge power.
like huge power, yeah.
But I mean, it's stab Foul Play. I'm wondering about that roll.
Well, we're not going to lose any sleep about it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have not seen this exact sequence. All I know is that turn 2 is like, bro, pussy. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So Klefki comes in trying to catch the Earthquake, but a U-turn breaks the balloon, and now Mamoswine comes in. Now the thing about this Klefki, though...
Jake should have rocks there, man. Like,
dude,
it's
that's so dangerous.
No, it's not. Here, okay, I'm gonna explain why it's not.
Okay.
Imagine you're Undead and you're the guy that has been shit talking all week long, and you are always known for being clutch in fucking playoffs. Okay, if on turn 2 of the battle you sack your Mega Sableye to an Earthquake from Landorus when you had 2 immunes in the back, fucking Kakrik would have ripped his head off, bro. Like, everybody would have shit on him if he made that play. So knowing that it is so unreasonable to just sack your Mega Sableye turn 2, you gotta be a fucking man, put your dick on the table, click that Stealth Rock. I'm telling you, 100 times out of 100, I'm Stealth Rocking turn 2. And if I lose the game because of it, I say, damn. But look how good rocks are into that team, man. And that's your only chance to get him, too. If Sableye ever heals, you're never healing.
Unda
Get what I'm saying?
Unda just said he fogged on your rocks with Klefki.
Well, at least you forced the fog. It's about aura. It's about pride, okay? It's about fucking getting in Undead's head. Because when you make a play like this, that shows them I'm scared. I'm going to play the lines. No, bro. This is finals. You got to play the boss plays. You got to fight. You got to risk everything to gain that 1 inch of advantage. Because those inches add up in the long run. I'm telling you guys.
Yo, Pivot, that is too funny. I knew he would turn because he has a family at home. And here we do see the Magnet Rise, which is to be expected versus double ground like this. You don't want to give Bambaswine more turns than it deserves. So obviously, Magnet Rise, and then you just set up the spikes here. Superpower comes out. Probably could have clicked that earlier, I'm going to be honest. Does half to this Klefki, but not a 2-hit KO thanks to the attack drop. And now probably just going to see another spike go up maybe? No, we see a double to Torn. So threatening a knockoff here is going to knock off the Feeney's leftovers in exchange for a defog. So everyone is just defogging here. Doesn't want to play with hazards. And now Torn going to go for a Hurricane, but does what Torn does best and misses. And Feeney going to go for the Calm Mind, so Torn has to get out of there, go into the Slowbro. And Moonblast from +1 Feeney does 28%. So this is an AV Slowbro, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, they definitely learned from their previous encounters where, like, we've seen Calm Mind Jirachi with Moonblast be used in that team because it's pretty fairly weak.
Klefki as the only resist is really dangerous.
Definitely their, like, dedicated response to the Feeney because otherwise it kind of can just steamroll and get out of hand.
Yeah, so the plan is probably just knock it with Torn, and then Slowbro will trade HP, but you have regen, and they don't, so trading HP is good. But Slowbro versus Feeney, you don't really have strong moves like super effective into Feeney, so maybe you could see Psyshock, but a more reliable thing is going to be what you're going to end up seeing, which is the Seismic Toss. If you look at this team, there's basically no reliable recovery. Slack Off Infernape does not count, so Seismic Toss, really nice bring here, honestly. Just consistent damage versus the whole roster, and it's damage that you can't really shake off. Like, this is the kind of thing where triple regen, this is where it really shines, right? You get that consistent chip, and you can regen, and they can't. So this Slowbro basically took no net damage. Gonna switch out to Klefki as Jake makes a really heads-up play, goes into Metagross, catches the Klefki, and now here's the thing, like, Slowbro reveals AV. Doesn't really want to be switching in on an offensive Metagross, but at the same time, what else do you go to? So we're gonna see a spike up, and Klefki just gonna go down for that. And we're going to reveal Life Orb Metagross, so a really big dangerous threat. Life Orb over Choice Band is interesting. I'm guessing you just wanted like a Grass Knot into Slowbro, but with it being AV, that's not going to be too impactful. Maybe it's Agility, and that's why you're Life Orb over Choice Band. I could see that as well. But either way, it's going to force a KO on that Klefki in exchange for the spike. Now Kyurem Black is in. And this is the most obvious Z move ever. So Jake just going to go into his Lando T on the Z Earth Power. Basic stuff, what can I say?
Now, this next turn, another cowardice play.
Ah, man.
My whole gang's going Infernape this turn. What about you guys? What are you guys doing this turn? Me personally, I'm expecting Ice Beam. I'm going Infernape because in my head, I'm thinking, what the hell is Infernape doing into fucking AV Slowbro Torn? All right?
Yeah.
Like, you're never accomplishing anything. So even if he does like Draco, who cares? I feel like.
So Lando just gonna get sacked to the Kyurem. Maybe you're hoping that this Kyurem is slow because they've run a slow Kyurem quite a lot this season. Maybe he's just hoping maybe my Lando can get another hit off. Honestly, not the most unreasonable thing in the world, but it's not going to end up paying off. Going to end up going down to the
I just think that literally a 44% Landorus is more valuable than the Infernape because it actually switches into the Mienshao. You could potentially get up rocks. Earthquake does meaningful damage in the Slowbro because it's AV, right? And if you do manage to get those rocks up, you just cook the Torn and the Kyurem.
So the hindsight is insane.
No,
Hey, we have the benefit of hindsight.
Bro, I watched this game live. And I said,
He
on
lived through the
everything.
moment.
I said, on gang,
No,
I'm going Infernape
I'm
on
not
this
gonna
ice
lie,
speed.
I
bro.
also saw this one live, and I also thought you never sacked the Lando there. But hey,
That's what I'm saying, bro.
now Metagross comes in, able to take the Earth Power, and Meteor Mash does not actually one-shot. Even being Life Orb, probably Adamant Metagross, this Kyurem, I don't know if it's EV to live or it's just a roll, but damn, that guy lived. Now
And
here,
one thing to say,
dude,
one thing I want to comment on when they say the hindsight is insane. Okay, it's not hindsight if all the information and plays we're describing are based on information that we have gathered so far into the battle. Like the Slowbro has confirmed to be AV, like that is confirmed. So like you can literally see the value of your Mons at a given point in the battle. Like there's a gross difference between what we're saying here versus like an actual hindsight play. I'll stand by that.
yeah, fair enough. Ho's mad. Now here, this is the most obvious bullet punch ever, right? If it's me, I'm going Slowbro 1,000 times out of 1,000, to be honest.
Nice hindsight player, bro. Nice hindsight player.
No, but like you don't lose Kyurem here. Like it's still valuable-ish. Like you can come in on Feeny, you can come in on maybe a Mamoswine, but obviously Ice Shard. Honestly, maybe you give up the Kyurem. It seems pretty bad. But I mean, I would go Slowbro here, but he goes Torn instead, which also accomplishes the same thing. And then sack Sableye for no reason. I don't know why we went Sableye there. Maybe just saying the Sableye HP is less valuable than Torn HP, so you just regen to full. I could see the argument for that. But here, Infernape's going to come in, get faked out like a beast. And obviously Slowbro going to be the pivot on this. U-turn, not really out-damaging regen at all, but does give the switch into Sceptile. Honestly, this spike is adding up over the course of the game, not going to lie. Rock Slide going to knock out the Sableye, and now Torn comes in. Rock Slide going to miss a little bit and goes down to the Sludge Bomb. That wasn't killing the Torn by any stretch of the imagination, but you're obviously losing out on the flinch odds, but at the same time, a little bit of desperation play there. Okay. Mamoswine going to enter the field, and now
I love this name because it's like a dual meaning, right? It's like a triple meaning if you think about it, right? So balls in your court, like the balls in your court to make the right play, to make the right pivot, right? But then also it's just balls in your court because it like dunks on the opposition, right? Like he's balling in the court.
Oh.
Or it could just be like balls. It's really a generational intelligent nickname.
Yeah, those kind of decreased in in aura. But sure, we'll call it 3. Alright, U-turn on this Mamoswine. Probably just gonna see, we actually see rocks go up, which is pretty nice here. We're gonna see Kyurem in before rocks, but Ice Shard gonna clean that up. We actually see no Icicle Crash on this Mamoswine set, which is interesting. Makes sense though. Alright, now Feeny's gonna come in on this Mienshao. At this point, you kind of just hope you don't get to it KO'd by HJK. But it does 34%, which is probably reckless damage if I had to guess. Like, that's so much damage on Feeny. But it's not even choiced Mienshao, so Poison Jab gonna finish that off. No problem. Now Infernape in, but you can just sack Mienshao at this point. You can do anything you want. No real way to lose this endgame. Mamoswine comes in on the Torn, Ice Shard. You could just sack this. It's pretty simple. You can just go Mienshao. Honestly, he goes HJK here. I think this is for sure trolling, but U-turn almost surely kills at 21, right? Actually, it was regen, so maybe just a high roll on a offensive Feeny. This HJK, kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, it's an aura play. You wouldn't get it.
I mean, like, what's the worst case? You U-turn on Infernape into Slowbro, and then what, you just Scald, kill everything?
Well, the worst case is you
Scald
U-turn,
twice.
you don't kill the Mamoswine, and Earthquake Giga crits the Slowbro, and then Infernape wins the 1v1. That would be the worst case. I don't even think that's possible.
I don't, yeah, like, legally
Also,
speaking, yeah.
No, but what if, okay, wait, so worst case is you U-turn as they go, or as they stay in.
Oh, yeah,
they
you don't have
crit
U-turn.
Earthquake.
They just don't have it.
Oh,
It's
Okay, so
HP
we're
Ice
just-
for Lando and Fake Out, just because we're a doubles player
Yeah.
and we have 2 Fake Out
Awesome.
users.
Yeah, we're just LARPing scenarios that'll never happen. Right. All right, my bad.
Ah, cool. All right. And now Undead wins. That puts ZFG up 3-0. And at this point, I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to eat an onion. But I had an ace up my sleeve. And that's this matchup, which I think is super favored for Addison, as well as I think she has the player matchup in this tier specifically. So Addison versus Genius. However, this combination, I did feel the same about Agency versus Ryan, and that did not go the same way, or that did not go the way that I anticipated. So if this goes the other way, I'm definitely eating an onion, I'm not gonna lie. So I was watching this one. I was locked in live. I was like, oh man. Now this matchup though, I feel like it super favors Addison. Her Lando is just a better Pokemon than the opposing Lando. Zapdos is incredible here. Pangoro is incredible. The Cinderace is incredible. Everything is just incredible here. The
Oh, yeah,
matchup's
just
super
Blaze.
strong. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you look
Did
at the other
you,
side,
let-
I feel like the strongest mon here is literally the Zydog.
It is. Yes.
Like,
Did you want me to delve into this matchup a little bit?
yeah, sure. Switch expert, do switch things.
Thank you. Yeah. So, always an interesting sight when you see the Lando team mirror and Swish. Oftentimes the matchup is very centralized around that Pokemon and how they're going to interact with one another, right? Because like this is the generation where Hidden Power Ice doesn't exist, so there's always so many different routes you can take, right? You can go for like a defensive Lando to respond to their offensive one, or vice versa. There's like Landorus that try to abuse opposing Landuses, like sub bulk up, right, with a lot of speed to get the jump on their Landorus, and then abuse the fact if they don't have like fast toxic, or if they're not able to boost alongside you and match it. Sometimes you'll even see explosion for the idea of just having them trade with one another. So it really just depends on how these players feel that they want to utilize that. Now, obviously, you know, Zing on his end, he's got other ground answers in the form of Celesteela, but of course, going to be vulnerable to something like a Gravity Set. So the one downside, though, for Addison is that, of course, not only is her Landorus contending with their own, but it's also contending with the Zygarde because there's no other 1,000 arrows resist. So Eddie's really got to make sure that she positions herself in such a way that she's not giving a bunch of free turns to the Zygarde. Because otherwise it could be pretty problematic. And if Landorus is able to effectively weaken her own, then Zygarde kind of does just get a kill whenever it comes in. But Eddie's got some really nice techs in this team. I actually built 3 of the Pokemon in the team. The rest she spec'd out and came up with some really genius creative techs on, I will say. The first one I made was the Scarf Pangoro. Really strong into the matchup, right? Scrappy allows you to ignore the Intimidate from Landorus, so it's always going to be doing consistent damage with close combat and knockoff, and you have Parting Shot to potentially weaken like a Meteor Beam Celesteela or any kind of, you know, setup Pokemon that starts to get out of hand. And then there is the Zapdos, which was Thanos in this matchup, in the mocks at least. We're running a sub Charge Beam set. The idea is that Zing has a benched Jellicent as well as a benched Sylveon, and it easily substitutes on both of those Pokemon, gets up Charge Beams to boost special attack, and you can sub down. And once you get to Salackberry, with the Spadef and HP investment we have, it's actually pretty easy to PP stall Nihilego out of Power Gems, provided it's not able to boost its special attack with a Meteor Beam. And then you can kind of just sweep with Zapdos from that point onwards, right? Also, you weaken their Landorus with it, and that opens up her own Landorus and also that Cinderace. And then the last one I made was the Jirachi. It's a sub-toxic Ironhead Body Slam. Just meant to do Jirachi things, you know? It's kind of a very notorious Pokemon for being cancerous into certain matchups. A big thing to note here is that Zing is benched the Sylveon, meaning that there is no Heal Bell. So any Body Slam that lands is going to be a guaranteed pair that sticks, unless it's like Shed Skin on this Crafty. So definitely a set that if it is not respected or played around properly, could cause Zing a lot of problems in the long run.
Yeah,
Now
for
on
sure.
Zing's end, I think outside of course, the obvious Zygarde we talked about, potentially DD Scrafty could be very effective, right? Latios is really good at weakening Jirachi or the, more importantly, the Primarina, which can open up for a late game DD Scrafty. So if Landorus like weakens her Landorus, you know, that could be a way that you could open up for the Scrafty. And then also I think that Celesteela's got a lot of things you can do. Obviously Leech Seed is annoying, right? No immunities. So Leech Seed Protect is pretty much always guaranteed value. And the final thing I would point out is that Latios, if you're able to like lure the Jirachi or weaken it with Nihilego, that does open up an opportunity for late game Latios with like agility to just kind of sweep. You could just be like agility 3 attack with life orb, or you could be like an agility calm mindset with weakness policy. Definitely both realistic prospects in a matchup like this.
Yeah, to me, I've said it before, but the biggest threat is that double ground setup. If you're able to break through that Lando, trade Landos even, then that Zydog does look like it could be a pretty threatening piece. Let's get into the game though. I'm going to see Pangoro lead off into the Nihilego, and immediately reveal Scarf with a knockoff on the Rocky Helmet Nihilego. This is going to be a 3-hit KO, so another knock is clicked. Pangoro not really threatened by anything outside of a Dazzling Gleam here, which feels unlikely on this set. Like Stealth Rock, Dual Stab, and I would expect a foul play for Jirachi, if anything. Maybe T-Spikes up, something like that.
I think it's highly unlikely. Like you would only run Dazzling Gleam for this Pangoro,
Yeah.
and I just don't think that's really like a realistic prospect. You probably want knockoff. Yep.
Okay, knockoff, yeah. Makes sense as well. And Knock into Sludge is going to do quite a lot of damage, basically trading 1-for-1, but the Nihilego gets rocks out of it. So definitely genius with, I think it advantaged trade turn 1,
I would
at
agree.
least out
I
of the
think
leads.
the health on Pangoro is not relevant, but losing the Choice Scarf is
very,
very detrimental
yeah.
to Addison. Yeah.
Like at this point, it outspeeds maybe 2 Pokemon, the Steela and the Scrafty, and doesn't really find any...
I believe it
safe
is max
switching.
speed, so at worst, you speed tie with their Scrafty. Yep.
Oh, that is a speed tie. Huh. Funny. Alright, but either way, Lando's coming in. The opposing Lando going to come in, uses up the White Herb. So this Lando really designed to 1v1 this opposing Lando. So White Herb to get rid of the Intimidate, and now probably just going to see a trade with like Knockoff into the opposing Lando. And that's exactly what we see. So
To
it
me,
gets rid of
that's
the
screaming-
lefties.
It's Screaming Explosion, right? Because like an SD White Herb set, not only could you use it to get around Landorus with Explosion, but if Addison's response to the Landorus was a Zapdos, obviously you can kill that with the Stone Edge, and then that would open up for the Celesteela if it's an Autotomized set.
Yeah, so revealing Earthquake Knockoff does make me more so lean on like Explosion.
With SD, yeah.
Yeah, probably SD Explosion. Maybe you could see Stone Edge Explosion, but I feel like SD is probably the more likely option. And now you see this knockoff, this Landorus looks to be much faster than Addison's Lando, which appears to be physically defensive. But here's the explosion, and it does actually knock out the Lando. So Lando trade, again, I think favors Genius by quite a bit. So he's coming out of this doing quite well, I think.
It does favor him for the Zygarde, but for everything else, I think Addison is probably fine with that trade. Because right now, Primarina basically gets a kill whenever it comes in, right? Like it just forces one with Moonblast or Scald. It's really only Celesteela that can ward off those attacks. And so even though like it is dangerous and the Zygarde is looking like it can come in and just kill everything, the all of our Pokemon are healthy. So as long as they're able to take one hit, it's not like the Zygarde's going to be able to do everything, right?
Yeah, so they can both have Lando, because in this kind of tournament, this is a team tournament, so it's a lot of people in this. I think there's like round about 90 to 100 people who are actually participating in this tournament. You can't have a 100-person draft, right? So each team gets multiple Swiss drafts. You have 3 pools of Swiss drafts. So everyone is in 3 different pools. So there's 3 different Landos going around. This just so happens to be 2 of them. Hopefully that explains it a little bit easy. But yeah. I think maybe both sides are happy with the Lando trade, but I feel like Zing is going out of his way for it. So it's definitely part of his game plan to trade Landos, whereas Addison maybe not so much.
As evidenced by these sequences, Zing's game plan appears to be very offensive. Like, I'm heavily thinking that it's some kind of Autotomized Celesteela, some kind of weakness policy Latios, right? Or maybe like a Memento set.
Yeah. You could see Screens Latios, you could see just agility, weakness policy kind of thing, like a really aggressive Calm Mind, kind of like win condition set. This Scrafty could be DD, Celesteela could be Autotomize, all sorts of like win conditions on here to back up like the hazard lead into, you know, trade Lando.
There's also the context of the Pokemon chosen, right? Because realistically, Jellicent and Sylveon are not bad into a matchup like this. However, those Pokemon are a lot more known for running more of their utility defensive sets. And if that's what you're leaning into, then that kind of indicates that your team is running more of a balanced structure. So by bringing these 6, it definitely more so screams that it's going to be like a offensive or setup oriented haste.
Yeah, which honestly I would agree with the call. Seems like the more reasonable option than trying to just outbulk all these guys.
I do think this was a misstep here by Addison. I didn't like the Cinderace coming in here. I thought Primarina seemed like pretty
Yeah.
reasonable to come in there because you don't really need to get rid of the rocks. Like, it's nice for the Zapdos, yes, but it's like one of the only things that gives setup to Scrafty, and also it's one of the only things that gives setup to Latios, because if you U-turn on a weakness policy and it agilities, you could be in some trouble.
Yeah, you might just be cooked, to be honest.
Well, she's got a tech on the Primarina, as you'll see, but
Okay. Well, Prim is
we
going
have
to
the
come in
technology.
on the Dragon Dance, and Poison Jab going to bring this thing all the way down to 12%.
Well,
and
we actually won't get to reveal the technology. It was Custap Berry.
Well, yeah. Mhm.
And she's Torrent, so this thing would have probably just gotten another kill, unless the Zygarde is E-Speed.
Well,
So definitely unfortunate.
yeah, yes and no. Like, the Celesteela can come in and protect to stall out
If
the
it's
Custap.
defensive, yes.
But if it is protect, it's probably slower, right? So same difference.
Right.
But regardless, it would force chip on Celesteela for sure. But like, you needed Prima Health for Zygarde since I lived a +1 boosted item hit. I mean, Cinderace going into the Scrafty, you're not threatening it at all, right? So if it's DD Scrafty, which it definitely looks like it from the team structure and it ended up being Dragon Dance, you're still going to have to take that chip on Primarina no matter what, right? So there was no out to it. You kind of forced into it no matter what. So
Okay, but
cost
if
the
you're not,
entire Cinderace instead of most of it.
Glop's Day Off is just back in action.
Probably should have gone to Zapdos. That's reasonable, yeah. But again, Cinderace is going to be the Pokemon in on the double down as Latios comes in. And like we said, if you U-turn on an agility weakness policy, I mean, now with no Custap, you're
Shivers.
definitely
Yeah.
cooked, right? So U-turn completely
Well,
off limits
Jirachi-
here.
Jirachi would love a hit because it's max Spadef, but she wisely doesn't give in to that, which is nice to see.
Mhm.
However, based on the fact that this is a Reflect Latios, this is a really good opportunity to go ahead and just set up a substitute now. It's
Mhm.
pretty unlikely that it would be like Shadow Ball in a set like that.
And here you're going to see a Draco Meteor with Eject Pack. So a lot of information being revealed here. So basically, this Reflect is only going to be 5 turns. And Latios doesn't stay into Shadow Ball the Jirachi and trade down. So either Zing really doesn't want to get parried by a Body Slam on Latios, or he just doesn't have Shadow Ball. And that could be pretty important for this Jirachi later. And Celesteela does come out. We have no information on this, so Body Slam going to be clicked. Want to get a pair on this thing before it goes for an Autotomize. And like, looking at the team, it does kind of
Yeah.
look like Auto Steela, right? You're screening into it, all that sort of thing. And you see no leftovers, right? So in my mind, unless I'm calcing 4% body press and I'm getting, or body slam, I'm getting so much information from the calc out of that, which feels a little bit far-fetched. I'm thinking, okay, this is probably auto. It might be heavy slam, stone edge, earthquake. That'd be pretty reasonable if you're trying to trade Lando with your Lando. You no longer have to worry about that kind of stopping you. So yeah, I think heavy slam, edgequake seems pretty likely from this situation. But Addison has no reason not to just go for Iron Head. Just flinch this down, waste screen turns, and the Celesteela really doesn't really get to play the game. 11% per turn, and here a heavy slam comes out.
Heavy Slam. Oh my god, wilted flower emoji. It's
Literally.
over.
So
Poor
what
guy.
this means is this Steela doesn't have Earthquake, doesn't have Flamethrower, nothing to break the sub on Jirachi. And what else is coming in on Jirachi here?
Well, and what I think is even worse is the fact that it's not Rocky Helmet. Because if the Celesteela is Rocky Helmet, it's a very different game.
yeah. The greatest defensive item of all time, by the way.
Yep.
That's the newest propaganda we're spreading. I want to see 3 Rocky helmets on every team from now on else.
Broken item.
It is.
Zing here recognizing that, not ideal to be staying in and getting flinched down, so he's going to go to Latios here. Probably wants to try to set up another Reflect just to stave off the damage. Is going to eat up another Paralysis for his troubles, though. And I mean, that is
Yeah.
the Jirachi effect.
Mhm.
You'll have to pardon me. I'm having slight Vietnam War flashbacks here as I watch this game because it's
Yeah.
first getting the 60% every time first time is just a little bit triggering for me after my experience last DCL with Jimmy G. So
Yeah. So true. Now your another
Literal
body
troll.
slam comes out trying to cover like a switch to Zygarde with Reflect Up. You don't want to give that thing free setup. But Zing's just going to stay in and go for a full para. Really smart of him to do that.
Yeah.
Another body slam. So Addison, very much conditioning Genius to say, okay, you
Well,
really can
I
never
think-
go Zygarde here.
Yeah, she doesn't want to ever let it in for free.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But at this point, now the Iron Head can come out pretty safely. You've properly conditioned. Zygarde is never going to come in there. And you can stall all of the screen turns here. And now you can just, kill off this Latios. And now Celesteela comes back in. And it's like, we're just going to lose 1v1. We're heavy slam mono. So
I believe
Para,
he said he was Seed Bomb on this because there was a bench Gastrodon.
are we really prepping for Gastrodon more than Jirachi? Okay, here. He
I-
makes the move.
You know, it's time. It all comes down to this.
Yeah. So
'Cause the funny
Zygarde
thing is,
in...
it can still do some work.
If you look at the Zygarde, it's slower than Cinderace, but can Cinderace one-shot Zygarde? Maybe after like a body slam, yeah. But here's the thing, right? If you body slam and get the para, the Zygarde's cooked. So maybe Lumberry Zygarde can get it done, but at the same time, it's looking really unlikely, right? We're just gonna see 1,000 arrows to break sub, and body slam comes out, does 36, which is less than I expected, but it does get the para immediately. So we're just cooked.
Yeah, a ripperoni.
I think
This is
to
what-
actually get through this, you had to not get parried, and then not get parried again on a Dragonite's turn, and then you Oko
Yeah.
Jirachi, then Zapdos, you have to hit a Stone Edge, and be like Expert Belt or something, and maybe it'll KO. I guess you're not Heavy Duty Boot, so it would KO.
He said that
right?
he said that +1 Stone Edge does KO max HP Zap, which we were just max HP. We didn't have any defense, I don't think. Or if we did, we had very little, maybe like
Mhm.
20 something. So it likely did KO, but like you said yourself, you have to dodge two different
Body
what's it
slams.
called? Yeah, because even if he 1,000 arrows, I don't even think non-ban 1,000 arrows kills Jirachi from 80. Right? And the other thing
No,
too,
definitely not.
is that, yeah, the other thing too is even if you did get the roll or whatever, then Zapdos can come in and Hurricane you, right? So and Hurricane definitely kills. It's like modest nature.
Yeah, and Addison's saying she's Sucker Punch Cinderace as well, so that would be another thing where Zing has
Right,
to
they'd have
outplay
to
Sucker
E-speed.
Punches.
Yep.
Yeah, E-Speed at +1 is definitely not killing Cinderace, so you have to outplay that at least once. And not only
Yep.
that, you have to assume that the Sucker Punch exists and then outplay it, right? So it's like an advantage 50-50 for Addison, I think. And yeah, I mean, that's not the world we live in, and that's, a flinch for the road.
And Zing says, "Yeah, nice."
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
and this is her tier, buddy. Know
Yeah.
your place.
Exactly. Yeah, just Aura Farm on the guy you just flinched 20 times in a row.
Hey, you know what? But this
I
is what
get it.
Jirachi is known for. And like,
Literally.
honestly, I always say when people ask like, "What's the best Jirachi set?"
Ironhead.
Body slam.
Yeah.
It's body slam.
Body slam Iron
It's
Head.
so cheap. You do damage and you paralyze at the same time.
Literally.
broken.
Yeah. And ground types, they not safe.
Nope.
Alright, and yeah, 07 the Onion. Zing saving me from that experience. As I knew he would. I mean, this matchup, really
Oh,
good
yeah, it was
stuff.
definitely Addy favored.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I don't know, he was like saying he was really convinced he won without the pair on Zygarde, but again, I just don't. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, if you did avoid 2 paras, it was close, right?
No, if you do avoid 2 paras, it comes down to the Sucker Punch Cinderace, basically.
Yeah, basically. So, like,
Right.
yeah, still not
But bro,
guaranteed.
dodging 2 paras.
It's like a 0%
come on.
chance. Like,
Well, let's think the math would be the chance of it not
16%.
happening times. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like an 84% chance in Addy's favor.
and then
Like, dude.
call it a sucker 50-50.
Yeah.
So,
you can't be mad about losing to an 84.
So
right?
92% if you factor in the odds of a 50-50, which in endgames like this I like to do, just when you're theory modding. Seems like the right thing.
The thing is, Kaker, I still think even with EQ on, I was talking to Zing and he's like, "Nah." I'm like, dude, I think even with EQ on Sella, you still lost because if she gets in the Zapdos and subs, then okay, here's the thing, right? You get the sub up with Zapdos, and then you can just like get the Select Berry. You're gonna outpay Zygarde, and you 2-shot it with fucking Hurricane. So I really still think even if you break the sub on Arachi with Celesteela, you have to deal with the Zapdos. It just kind of like charge beams up for free and gets the kills. So I don't know.
Well, if you have EQ on Steela, I think Stone Edge is not unreasonable to also have on it. Right?
Right.
I mean, that's the set I was saying it could be when we were watching the game. Heavy Slam, Edgequake. At the same time, you could probably pressure stall that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zapdos has pressure. It literally PP stalls Draco and it PP stalls Stone Edges. And also, unless what's it called? Anyways, nah, that Zapdos is winning, bro. Trust me, that
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
is Thanos. Like
Alright.
almost all her mocks, she was 6-0ing with that shit.
Yeah, and now we have our VGC VGC debut.
Wait, I see what you did there.
Oh. I'll be here all week. And by all week,
Are you like
I mean,
are you like potentially King of 5 Pokerapper legend god?
some are saying this, yeah. Some
Did they call
Some
you the
people say
miracle lyricist?
I haven't heard that one before, but I could get used to it.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Well, VGC expert King L5, why don't you break this down for us?
There's no Scoville in here, so I don't have that much expertise, but there is a Qianpao Dragonite, which I do have some experience in. Long story short, I believe that if you put Dragonite next to Qianpao, it's a lot better. So that's what I'd mostly be expecting out of C here, and it's also what I'd expect Code to be mainly prepping against, right? Because the rest of the team, honestly, does not look that scary. I'll be super honest. I know the Azu plus Qianpao is also quite threatening with like super strong Aqua Jets and stuff. But at the same time, D-Knight's can be the main thing you're worried about. And yeah. And here you see the Terra Flying Dragonite, which is pretty standard next to Qianpao, right? Flying and ice coverage combined. Pretty strong. Right. What else
I actually
here
do
to
kind of
talk
like
about?
the Luxray with Intimidate here.
Yeah.
The only thing you got to be wary of course, is potential Guard Dog on Okidogi, right? So you're gonna boost its attack instead. But otherwise, like intimidating the Dragonite Qianpao combination is pretty helpful, as well as keeping the Azumarill at bay too, right? Heatran is also really good here offensively, right? Especially with Terra, you can just get rid of those weaknesses and like shit like Heat Wave is just consistent chip on everything. Earth Power into the opposing Heatran. Looks like a solid piece all around. Will-O-Wisp also, right? Like kind of just fucking fries that team.
Right. New information has been revealed where C is actually doubles OU main and was on the winning doubles PL team recently. So C is just the GOAT, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their best.
Yep. Alright. I mean, Code's team does definitely look like this is going to be a Trick Room Sinistra into Ursaluna trying to abuse it. But at the same time, there is a Amoonguss and even like that Azumarill could be minus speed. Give Code a little bit of a hard time there. I believe that's a speed tie, right? Yeah. So we'll see. Let's get into the game. And there's the Sinistra Roaring Moon into the Qianpao and the D-Knight. Classic.
A little interesting to see the Sinistra lead. Typically, it's a mon that switches in to grant the hospitality to its partner. But if you're leading like this, that to me screams that like maybe you want to go for a follow me Tailwind turn one. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Like a Rage Powder, yeah.
Yeah,
So we're going for the
Same
Tailwind
thing.
approach rather than Trick Room, it looks like.
perhaps.
Yeah. We see booster speed on the Roaring Moon, so it's going to be the fastest mon on the field, unless it's Scarf Qianpao, which it isn't. I'd bet money on that. And yeah, so probably going to see a Tailwind, although there is the option, maybe... no, there isn't actually, because Rage Powder kind of takes away all of your chances of just double targeting this with like E-Speed Ice Shard, right? So there's the Rage Powder. Icicle Crash brings us down to Sash, and we see a knockoff, not a Tailwind. Actually, Dragonite trying to match the Tailwind, but actually ends up with a Tailwind advantage, which is going to be a really big deal, because now Qianpao is starting the KO on Sinistra, and Dragonite will be threatening a KO on Roaring Moon. What's this Terra on Roaring Moon? It's Terra Flying. So, I think a pretty reasonable play here is to just Terra Blast the Roaring Moon with Dragonite, and just Crunch or whatever Ice Shard the Sinistra, whatever accurate move you have. There's the Terra Flying and the Rage Powder, which is to be expected. Icicle Crash does connect. Oh, but it's still faster than D-Knight. Maybe I did not factor that into my calculations. Yeah, still faster than the D-Knight, which is...
Implies it's a very bulky D-Knight.
Yeah. And like Citrus Berry
Right.
D-Knight as well also implies that, so information going into game 2 at the very least. And now a KO taken for both sides, but Tailwind advantage for C, and now Okie Dokie comes in. And yeah, this Okie Dokie, it looks like it's just going to die to the Roaring Moon Acrobatics if you're not careful. But that at the same time, Qianpao threatening an Oko on that guy, and it is faster with the Tailwind, so maybe you have to go for a Protect on Roaring Moon, or maybe swap it into Luxray. But at the same time, Luxray getting the Intim on Okie Dokie is a bad thing, unless you can Oko it with like a Zen Headbutt on Urshifu, which I don't know how likely that is, but versus Amoonguss Okie Dokie, I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility. We do see a Protect, so makes sense. You Protect on the Icicle Crash, which was quite obvious. And now the... Okay, Gunk Shot comes out, but we're electing to Oko the Qianpao instead, which makes sense. You know, get rid of the threat to your Roaring Moon at the cost of your Urshifu HP. This also, I would assume, means that there's no no Zen Headbutt, but maybe there is, and you're just prioritizing the Qianpao going down. Regardless, there's a 1 Pokemon lead for Code, but C does have one more turn of Tailwind, and this Roaring Moon just protected, so a double into it is pretty reasonable. You could Terra the Heatran, keep it safe from the Urshifu. What Terra is this Heatran? Fairy? Yeah, I think a pretty safe play on C's side is to just double the Moon and Terra the Heatran, assuming your Okie Dokie is faster than the Roaring Moon, which we don't know at this point, but C knows. C did the EVs, so she will know. Balloon Heatran. Okay, we see a switch to Luxray, giving the Guard Dog boost to Okie Dokie, and we see a Terra Ghost. That's interesting. I don't know why the Luxray switch here.
Low-key, maybe he just forgot about Guard Dog. I'm gonna be honest. Why else would you?
Yeah, because if
It's like
Urshifu
Urshifu's in a great
stays
offensive position.
Hmm.
I guess the worry is that close combat into Earth Power might get the KO from Czen, right? Like close combat Okie Dokie, Earth Power, Heatran probably does KO the Urshifu. So maybe you just didn't want to let that piece go yet. Because like the Tailwind's gonna run out next turn, right? So you'll come in and presumably be faster than both of these Pokemon. I think that's probably the thought process.
Okay, so here we see Roaring Moon actually still outspeeds the Okie Dokie in Tailwind. So if you didn't Terra your Okie Dokie, it was dead to the Acrobatics either way. And then it would be Heatran versus the World, which Heatran versus 28% Urshifu, that would have KO'd for sure, right? So I guess the idea is you're going to like Flamethrower or like whatever the Urshifu slot this turn, and so Code is saving the Urshifu for after Tailwind and going for the one shot on Okie Dokie, because if you're faster than Okie Dokie with this, you Oko it. If Heatran Terra is trying to save itself from the Urshifu, now you have a full HP Moon next to Luxray, and you've your Luxray takes a hit, but Okie Dokie dies, and then you can double the Heatran next turn, and Tailwind's gone, and Urshifu's faster, you're going to put it in range of Searching Strikes. So actually,
Bro,
I get the play
that's
from
literally
Code.
what I said. That's literally what I said.
You may have said it, but I didn't comprehend it until I just thought it through.
The same fucking thing I said.
My bad. Oh my god, it died. What the fuck? Okay,
Somebody
okay.
get this guy. Get him off the fucking stage.
I have to
Fuck me.
focus really hard for VGC, I'm sorry.
Like, you just said what I fucking said, but you made it like 3 times as convoluted.
Yeah. I gotta optimize it for watch time. That's what we're doing
Oh.
here.
Yeah, we're just stat
Okay.
padding, even though we lost fucking 10 viewers for the VGC portion. Yeah.
Did we actually?
Yes.
Oh my god, we did! Oh my
Yep.
god!
That's how it goes, man.
I get
People-
it though.
people-
I get it.
Bro, they see 4 Pokemon on
get
the screen and they just go, duh.
Okay. And it looks like C should have this one. Or does he? The Heatran's gonna go down, but Okie Dokie
No, C's got
knocks
this shit
out
in
the
bag.
Urshifu. Yeah, and
Flex Ray's a
yeah,
piece of shit.
that didn't matter. All right, so 1-0 for
The
C.
thing is, even if Thunder Wave hit, no move Luxray has KOs Okie dokie.
Yeah.
There.
Mhm.
So
And now game 2. All right. Let's see any adjustments from Code's side. We see the Luxray
maybe
leading
not
off
from the
this
Luxray.
time.
Oh no, yeah, just lead the Luxray. Okay,
frick.
sure. No, yeah.
All right, C calls the Luxray lead like a beast. And yeah, unless this is Zen Headbutt or Shifu, I think we're just freaking cooked.
Even if you are, you can just Terra Ghost to get around it. That's the other problem.
Yeah. Doesn't Terraghost just gonna
Oh,
air
and
slash?
our best Pokemon in the matchup is gone. Nice.
Yeah, I love that. So Air Slash going to knock out the Urshifu without needing a Terra, because otherwise you would need Terra Blast to do that. So I get the Bring.
Yeah.
Also gets around the Intimidate, right? But now that's going to be an Oko. You live the Ice Spinner. I have to assume that's EV'd for with Multiscale Dragonite.
Surely. But
Yeah.
I do think that that's banded Urshifu. Right? Because how the fuck do you do 95 through multi-scale?
I don't know. We're not going to fact check. It's already dead. But okay, Okidoki goes for a Protect here, which is interesting. We're trying to get a Tailwind on Dragonite, assuming the Roaring Moon is attacking the Okidoki, which is a pretty reasonable assumption to make. And there it is. So Protect, no Tailwind.
Bro,
Instead, just going to take the
no,
KO on
that is-
Luxray.
That is so sad that Psychic Fangs didn't even KO. Like, what's the point, bro?
Actually, the Tailwind is probably a misplay because we already
Chat.
revealed both these Pokemon are slower than Roaring
Can
Moon.
we please get some Fs in chat for Luxray? Our Sinnoh Goat, the promised boy,
Yeah,
letting us down.
The in-game
So sad, man.
beast. Okay, whoever played DPP without a Luxray on their team, I feel like it has to be
Nah,
like
you guys are a
single
bunch of
digits.
normies. Nah. I didn't. All right.
Never, not
I'm-
once.
I was not once. Because even as a kid, I knew it was a piece of shit. Bro, as a kid, I already knew DD Gyarados was God. I was spamming that guy.
True.
I'm like, wait, this guy DDs and he's just Thanos.
See, when I was a kid, I'm sure many will relate to this. If it's not an attacking move, I don't want it. You know?
No, I used to be like that, but then I
Yeah.
learned what Double Team did, and then
Oh,
and then
evil guy.
I remember, like during the summers, I would go to daycare, and everybody had Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, so we'd all do like the underground shit together, and we'd all battle. And bro, I was the guy. I was like training my Pokemon. I had Double Team on my shit. People hated playing me because I was a cheese lord.
See, I was just the guy with an action replay and a Deoxys attack.
Oh, I had that too. No, I had that too. But then I was like forcing like Mewtwo to encounter so that I could EV train special attack. Like I had a little a notepad, and I would use Roman numerals to like count my EVs, bro.
Oh, you
I
know
swear
what?
to God.
You know what we did in summer camp, like way back when? We didn't know what EVs were. We didn't know what Natures did either. We just knew that we could hack in level 99s and then just give them a rare candy, you know? So all of our level 100s had no EVs. But we also didn't know what IVs were. So I was like, damn, how is his Deoxys speed faster than my Deoxys speed? This is so messed up.
Makes no sense, bro.
Yeah. So I
cheat better than
kept
me?
genning or like cheating in Deoxys speeds until mine was faster. It's too tough. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, back to the game. When you see the Terra flying on Roaring Moon, Dragon Dance. So kind of guarding against like a Dragon Pulse, and a Terra Blast is gonna knock out the Dragonite. But a Tailwind does go up, and now we have Amoonguss in Tailwind. Red alert.
W.
We're going to see a Terra Water trying to live this Acrobatics, which is certainly going into that slot. We see a Protect from Heatran. A knockoff into Heatran, actually, so I just freaking lied, but... Okay, it gets the Spore off. You have another Tailwind turn. Earth Power into Heatran, pretty likely here. Is C winning this?
Yes.
Dude.
Amoonguss doesn't die, unfortunately.
Oh, Amoonguss lives one? How
Oh,
are
she
you
too
living
thick, look at
one? Oh my
Boom.
god.
That's Amoonguss.
That's a +1 Terra Flying Roaring Moon.
I know, but it's not.
It's not
if
attack
it was
booster.
attack,
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking attack booster.
Oh, attack booster gets it easily.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Not without that.
Yeah. And so that's gonna be 4-1 for
He says, I
ZFG.
say we skip the rest of VGC and just have you and Glob talk about childhood Pokemon stories for like 10 minutes.
Bring
True.
back the viewers.
Hey, one day we'll get a little walk down memory lane, and it'll be L5 and I will just talk about like our experience playing Pokemon growing up as kids. Because
Yeah.
you know we're unks, right? So like
Yeah.
when we were playing Diamond and Pearl, you guys weren't even like learning what the fucking alphabet was. You guys were still like,
Goo goo gaga.
yeah, you guys were like eating bugs and like wearing diapers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were out
Dude,
here like
we were
becoming
eating
Pokemon
bugs and
masters.
playing Pokemon.
Bro, I was the kid that was hacking in the Azure Flute, and then I was like, wait, where do I go? But I had to figure that shit out because the internet didn't even know yet, bro. Like, different times. Y'all wouldn't get it.
Yeah. Oh, what do we do for DPP? Oh man, dude, I went on because I always played with my friends in summer camp the most, and then the school year was just like whatever, we'll play a little bit here and there. But summer camp was always the time for Pokemon, and I had my copy of Diamond in my pocket, and then we went on a field trip, and it was gone, and I was so
Bro,
sad.
Somebody yoinked that.
No, it fell off when I was on a roller coaster.
Bro,
I was like, damn,
what
that's ass.
that is, man, because now those games are like fucking $100 to get the original
I
card.
know,
It's like, it's expensive, dude.
but it's okay
I
because
think
I
my
prefer
favorite-
Emerald anyways, and I have that cartridge still. Dude,
Probably
I
my
have the,
favorite
the
memory-
the perfect setup. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I travel with a Nintendo DS Lite. It's one of the double
Yep.
color ones with the red on the top
Yep.
and the black on the bottom. Perfect color. And then on the top, I have Explorers of Darkness, which could be Explorers of Sky, but I only had Darkness of Sumi. So basically the
They're both
greatest,
great. They're both
the
amazing.
greatest.
Yes, they're both. Yes.
Then on the bottom, the GBA slot, I have Emerald.
Oh,
Peak.
that's tough.
Peak.
See, mine is a different form of peak. My DS that I carry with me everywhere. On the top, I've got Super Robot Tyson OG Saga Endless Frontier Exceed based game, and then in the fucking Game Boy slot, I've got Fire Emblem 7. Ooh, tough. It's a
Beast
tough
mode.
combo.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite memories from the fucking daycare thing was like we would all do the underground shit. And bro, it was so funny because I remember like there was this one kid that would always try to steal our flags. So like me and 3 boys, we like set up this elaborate scheme of traps where we like mapped out the fucking underground. And I swear to God, this guy was stuck in like a 3-minute unskippable cutscene. Like he just got like sent one way and then sent another way, then sent another way. Then there was a bubble trap, and then he walked to the right and he got hit by a rock trap, and then it sent him on another fucking arrow, and he just like. The funniest thing too is I remember this kid was like trying to get an upgrade for his base, and he came into my base, right? I don't want that guy stealing my flag. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in the base, there's only the one way in. It's the door, okay? So this kid coming to my base, someone's like, yo, dude's in your base. I was like, bet. I ran in there, and I stood in the doorway, and I just never moved my character. And the thing is, to actually claim the flag, you had to leave that person's base and bring it back to your own. And I literally, at recess, I stalled this man IRL, bro. Like, I literally just stand there, and like, he was crying. Like, he almost went and grabbed the teacher. It was getting so bad. I was like, bro, you are not getting my flag. I said, shut that DS off. I'm like, you are not getting my flag, gang. This shit was
He
so
stood
funny,
on
dude.
business, and he stood there, and he stood.
Bro. And I just stood there menacingly. I would not let that boy leave. Dude, it was so funny. But I remember it was cool because like when you had your gang of guys, y'all were homies, so you guys would like steal each other's flags. Bro, I got Spiritomb legitimately as a kid. Like I actually talked to 50 other kids. I'm dead ass. I
Holy
actually got
shit.
it like legit. Because there were, dude, at daycare there was at least like 12 of us a day that had our DSs and Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, right? So like
Yeah.
we would constantly be just like trolling and doing shit in the underground. We'd be like at like the designated movie time or computer lab. No, we're just battling on the DSs. Like it was so peak, dude.
Yeah. Oh, what I did one time, this was super funny. So I just figured out what Focus Sash Rattata was. Coolest thing ever, right? So what I did, I was like, hey, watch this. I could beat a level 100 with a level 1. And so what I did is I genned in a level 100 Magmortar. And I gave it 4 100% accurate moves that had no secondary effects. So it was like 100% guaranteed that I would beat it.
Yeah.
And I was like, watch this, man. Endeavor, Quick Attack. What can I say?
Bro.
I was the cool guy that whole week.
The whole block
Yeah.
was going crazy after that.
And then the whole crowd applause, But like actually though, yeah, that was too tough. Anyways, let's get back to this game. So this is going to be game 6. Current score is 4-1 for ZFG. I do not have to eat an onion. Thank God. Viewers are back. Whew. Saved by the bell.
No, we were saved by the childhood stories. That's what saved us.
It's true, you were the Magmortar. Yeah. Alright, so we got Bobbert for Judgment Day, and Shadow Blast. This is K-Crick for the side of ZFG. If K-Crick wins this one, they win finals. If Bobbert wins, they can still fight for a tie, but, I mean, guys, K-Crick in the clutch. Almost as bad as Zing in the clutch, what can I say? I say that...
Damn, shots fired for
I
no
say
reason.
that... No, there is a reason, there's a reason. DCL Season 1, I had K-Crick on my team. He lost in tie breaks, and we got knocked out of playoffs. If he won, we made finals, and then we would have smashed, clearly. So, it's all his fault. Therefore,
Wow.
he's dicks.
This is insane, like opposite reverse dick riding. Like you were just hating this guy for no reason.
Yep.
Bro, season 1.
Yeah.
Was he even good back then? Like, come on. Like, bro.
Yeah. Alright, so game time. We see a Terra Electric or Shifu, which obviously is going to be a pretty obvious choice into Raging Bolt, Pex,
Yep.
Corviknight. Like, what else are you going to be? Terra Steel, Clefairy, don't expect that to be clicked. Now on the other side we see Terra Dragon for the Raging Bolt. Now some of the big threats on this team is going to be that Raging Bolt, which is why you see the Clefairy being brought. I forget what was benched on this team. What was it? Something was benched for Clefairy that was important.
Like a Pheasantipity or something.
No, it was Moltres, I think. Moltres was benched. Which into Toxapex, Carbink, I get it, you know? Gosh, I wonder who lost their Game 6 to produce these finals. Could be anyone. Alright. But yeah, Raging Bolt, really big threat with Draco Meteors. Obviously, Clefairy can switch in on
Right.
those, but a U-turn to like Carbink, set up some hazards. Or not U-turn, but Volt Switch. But at the same time, treads on a Volt Switch, pretty dangerous.
Now, I do want to add some context before the accusations start flying at me. I was watching this game live. There were certain sequences I was screaming at my phone for a certain player to make, okay?
Okay.
And so I just want it to be said that when I illustrate these and bring them to light, all right?
It's not hindsight.
Yeah, nice hindsight, Claw. Nice hindsight, morons. I watched this game live and I knew his prep.
Yeah. You got all the same information. Yeah. I believe you. I believe you. But either way, major threat is that Urshifu. I think that guy is literally Thanos in this matchup. Put some nice Spadef on that guy. Make it still outspeed Modest Bolt. The world is your oyster. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Shifu is really deadly too, right? Like water fighting electric hits everything super effectively. So, I mean, not the bolt, but like a +2 close combat would just blow it up.
Yeah.
Oh, Guap is just better than everyone. How did he not get the chip? Hey man, I was at the top of the standings, but no chip for me. You know, my you have to talk to the king and his ensemble.
Yeah, my bad. Was in the middle of a car ride home and screamed at my phone in the back seat. You did not do that. What? I'm just imagining, like, you're on the way home from school, right? Your mom's driving you, and the kid's just like screaming at his phone to hit the double switch.
You know what's funny? I actually did something kind of similar. It was during finals tiebreak, PTE versus DUI, and it was Hunter's game that was being played, and I was in the back seat of the car with my older brother, and my parents were driving us to my fucking niece's graduation. So I'm sitting in the back spectating this game on my phone, and like Hunter's got to hit like 7 bleak wins to fucking win.
And your heart's pounding.
I was like, oh my
You're
god,
like, oh my God.
I'm literally saying this out loud. I literally turned to my brother. I said, bro, put your hands together. I said, start praying. And I swear to God, my brother, he started praying, and from that moment, he hit every fucking bleak win. I was like, yes,
my
dude,
God.
yes. It was unbelievably based.
All right, let's get into the game. Enough waffling. All right, Ogerpon Cornerstone leading off into the Lando. Now, here's an interesting thing, right? Because Lando leading off like this kind of makes me think that it's Scarf Lando, right? You want to lead favorably into the Ogerpon Cornerstone. You want to lead favorably into maybe like the Urshifu, right? So it can't tear
Darkrai.
immediately. Yeah, or the Darkrai. Yeah, like Scarf Lando, really reasonable lead here. And here you're going to see a hard switch out, no U-turn, which is okay. Does this mean we're not Scarf? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But we're going to see a counter come out. So maybe K-Crick is just built different. He knew something we didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, counter is really cool tech here, because if that U-turn did come out, it is just a KO. Nothing
minute,
can
that
take
play?
that.
Wait, that play was the opposite of hindsight. Wait, that play was foresight?
Foresight. Oh, damn.
Whoa,
It really comes full
wow.
circle.
How did he do that?
Yeah, most obvious counterplay. Maybe to a guy like you.
Wait. Was it the most obvious counterplay, or did he mean that switching was his most obvious counterplay? See what I did there? Because it countered the play of the.
It turns out it's a typo he meant of all time, not play. So, yeah.
Oh,
Frank.
yeah, fuck my pun, I guess. Yeah, okay, sorry.
yeah. All right, now Corviknight in on the Ogerpon, and this time we're going to see a spike go up as a U-turn comes out. This time the U-turn in a counter is not deadly, but it would hurt. So breaks the sturdy, and Darkrai comes in, threatening an Ice Beam. And we see a nasty
All right,
plot come out.
That's what I want to talk about. All right? Now, chat. All right? If you're running a nasty plot, Hypnosis Darkrai, right? Statistics say that your best bet is to go for the Hypnosis first, because if you go for two over the course of 2 turns, you have an 84% chance of hitting one of them, right? So I don't understand personally a world where you nasty plot and then Hypnosis second. So I saw this turn, and for context, the Iron Treads is Scarf, okay? I
I
saw
see
this
where you're
turn,
going with this.
and I said on my whole gang, I go Iron Treads because you don't Dark Pulse, you don't Focus Blast here. You could
Those
Ice
are
Beam, I guess,
nonsense
but
plays,
you
yeah.
those are nonsensical plays. This is screaming, I have Sludge Bomb, right? If you're going to Nasty Plot first. Because I would argue that a Nasty Plot or a Hypnosis set would not have Sludge Bomb. It would probably just be like Nasty Plot, Focus Blast, right? Because you're probably not even expecting Clefairy. Or if it comes, you'll just say, oh, I'll just sleep it, right? Because that's what you do with
Yeah.
Hypnosis Darkrai. So me personally, I'm going into the Treads. However, poor
Booyah!
Clefairy.
It's
Meets a
a
most
Nasty
sinister
Plot
fate.
Life Orb, which is a set we saw in the semifinals as well from this team. It was Nasty Plot Life Orb Thunder, if I remember correctly, and it just O-coded an Alamomola. Similar idea here.
Here's why this is significant too, because the Raging Bolt is Terra Dragon. Like, you losing your Clefairy is actually very meaningful, because
Yeah, this
now
Raging Bolt,
if it's a Scarf Raging Bolt, dude, you're fucked. You have no
so
counterplay.
fucked.
It just comes in and clicks Scarf Dragon Pulse every time, and like
Yeah.
Treads will get worn down. What is Treads meant to do into fucking
Dude,
Toxapex?
Treads is
Corviknight
taking
Lando?
like 70 from Draco, I'm not joking.
That's what I'm saying. So like, really, I think genuinely, I believe like there you have to make that switch, because if you don't, you're just really setting yourself up to lose to the Raging Bolt like long term.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And now Treads
Personally, I
comes
would have
out,
made that switch.
and K-Crick is like, well, if you didn't pivot Treads, that means it's not Scarf, right?
Also,
Booyah.
also consider this, right? It was like turn 3 of the battle. Like, K-Crick is not even in any kind of position to where he feels like he has to make an aggressive call on like a switch. Like, that's just nonsensical.
Yeah.
Like, clearly your sequences have played out the way they have, so you're going to attack what's in front of you. Right? It'd be different if this was like turn like 17 and he knew that the Treads was Scarf. Okay, maybe there's a mind game. But early on, there's no information. So all of the like play, I would argue, is favored for Bobbert. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it just sucks. It's going to cost you that Clefairy. And like in the short term, yeah, you've KO'd the Darkrai, you've gotten rid of it. But that Raging Bep, man.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that if this wasn't Scarf Treads, I think he just freaking lost.
Fucking lost. Yeah.
Like within like 8 turns max.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, because even if it's like AV, right, you just Dark Pulse this, and then Drake, yeah, Raging Bolt comes in, you Dragon Pulse literally 5 times, and you win.
Yeah. This is Joe.
Yeah, so like, I understand staying with the Darkrai, because if it's not exactly Scarf, you're just completely winning. And it is Scarf, so it's information for later. You go into Lando, you get your free rocks up. Or just a U-turn, that works too, so maybe it is Scarf Lando. And here's the
All right,
Raging
well,
Bolts,
here's
and this
Thanos,
is
yep.
Screaming Scarf. And there it is.
Yep, and sure is.
We start counting
Now what
one.
the fuck do you do?
All right, Tread's
Nice
in,
double
trying
here
to
from
force
Robert.
this out. Yeah, this is really nice. This is predicting a Corviknight to want to come in.
See,
Or
here he's
Lando,
making the block
yeah.
plays. Yep,
Oh, but the
And he gets-
Adrenaline Orb.
brilliant stuff.
Whoa.
Right now he's in a very commanding position.
Now you can Source Dance, and this is...
Yep,
Ooh,
Kinda
wait
dangerous.
a minute.
kind of spicy, right?
Wait a minute. You have
Alright,
to
so I
Source
see
Dance
this-
here, Source
now
Dance, Source
I'm watching
Dance.
The, I'm watching the
Oh,
game. The
oh.
only thing I knew is that it was Scarf Treads. I didn't really know anything else about the pace, but I
Mhm.
saw this and I was like, dude, I think Bobber just won. I'm like,
Yeah, look
CC's
at
gonna
it,
blow
you-
this shit back. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right, guys? right?
Ah, we're Drain Punch.
Aw, dang it.
Fuck.
Bro.
If it was
If
CC,
it
it
was
just
CC,
won. It
it
just
just
won.
won. It just won.
It
It literally just
just won. Dude. Rats.
What are we doing? What are we doing, gang?
Oh,
What
man.
the quap?
What the quap is crazy. Okay,
Double
let's go
again,
back
which
here.
is like beast mode. Here's the problem, though. You have nothing to capitalize off this double in this next turn.
Yeah, you're getting
like, you-
really low on win conditions here. Like maybe
On Pokemon in
Darkrai.
general. Yeah.
The
Now, I
doubles
will
to
say, right?
treads.
If you're looking at the game state here, Stored Power Latias could definitely bring this back. The Darkrai's gone,
It could. But it
with
has to
some Calm
contend
Mind
with
Blitz.
Scarf, Raging Bolts.
but it
which
only
is
gets one
still
more
alive.
switch in.
And there's the agility, so okay. Mirror
Okay, I don't know
Herb
what-
Tox effects. This is trying to
I'm
copy a
like-
Calm Mind, I guess, and not get Psychic O-Code or something.
Yeah,
Or
my guess
maybe-
is this has to be for Calm Mind, because like, what the fuck else is this for?
You know what? This could be like a failsafe for Ogerpon with Terra SD.
Oh, to like hit it with a strong move, like a liquidation
Mm.
or something. Yeah.
No, like so you SD, you kill something, and then Pex
Yep.
comes in, you're like, okay, if I Terra my Ogerpon, I Oko Pex, and I can win the game, right? But if you Terra, you get the defense boost, and Pex gets a defense boost.
Is it for sure Terra Ogerpon in this team? I don't recall.
It's Ogerpon and Urshifu, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
that's
that
the
makes-
idea, and it also covers like Nasty Plot Darkrai, because if you copy the Nasty Plot and maybe like you just do a lot of damage with Surf or Sludge Wave or something. It's probably for the Latias mainly. Maybe
Yeah.
like it's a Gunk Shot for like SD sub Urshifu, and like it always breaks after the Mirror
I'm sure
Herb on
Kaker
the...
will have some insight for us. in
I
the
don't know.
chat.
It seems like a couple usable applications. So fair enough. And there's a Toxic, which makes sense. And we see a Volt Switch trying to predict the treads or something. But Pex just stays in, goes for a cover. And now Darkrai's in. I feel like this Pex wasn't really forced out, but
Yep. And now we're just Kaif merchants at this point. Like, we're just praying, I guess.
no shame.
Yep.
Alright, lands the Hypnosis on the Carbink at least, and there's the Nasty Plot. We stay asleep, and Darkrai should be able to live... Oh, it's Sleep Talk. I was gonna say, Darkrai should live one hit. But now, I mean, this Carbink, it's literally a 50-50 if you wake up the next turn, so... it's optimal to just click Moonblast, because if you Sleep Talk, it's a 50-50 that you're asleep or awake, and even if you are asleep, there's a chance you Sleep Talk, like, a non-favorable
A
move.
wrong move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Moonblast here, definitely correct. Or Body Press, that works too. Yeah, same thing.
Covers the treads. Yep.
Just a little bit of information on the odds some people might not be aware of. Right.
See, right here, I was genuinely thinking, like, wait, like, Stored Power can definitely win this, right?
I mean, the Toxic is there, you know?
Yes, but what I'm thinking is if he's the God set, if he's Agility, Calm Mind, Stored Power, Resto, Chesto, it wins.
That set is kind of god, yeah. Is this Haze
Right, like-
Toxapex? We're gonna find out here. It's not Haze.
Because you really don't need coverage move to beat the Corviknight.
Yeah.
You would only really need coverage move for Darkrai.
hmm
But if you make your game plan around getting rid of it, right? Like, this could be an amazing position for Latias.
It just doesn't feel reliable enough to be like, we're just gonna kill
Well,
the Darkrai.
All I'm saying is, as a spectator, I was watching and I was like, please be Resto Chesto.
There's no shot.
I know, it's unrealistic. It's
Yeah.
a fever dream.
There's a Sword Power, so maybe you get at least a couple KOs.
So unfortunately, our good friend Toxapex is going to continue farming people in the SV tier
Ah,
Sigh.
frick.
Where's the integrity? Where's the fun? You lame ass guys and their Toxapexes.
Not gonna lie, I used to spam the hell out of Toxapex back in the day. That was my guy. Alright, now it's Treads versus the World, but the World includes a Land OT. So we're just cooked, yeah.
Like, just kill me.
Yep, and we're locked into Ice Spinner, so booyah. And it was physical Toxapex, so definitely the Mirror Herb, more so aimed at like a SD or Shifu then.
I know right here, Kakarot was like kicking his feet and like jumping up out of his chair.
Yeah.
He said,
We did
Right,
it!
we did it. We did it.
Nerd emoji.
Yep.
And that is going to be the finals, right? They end the
What a doozy.
series 5-1. The last two games did not get played, from what I recall, right? Or did they play one of them? I don't remember. I think they didn't.
Is this ZFG's first title?
Yes, as a franchise, ZFG has never won before, despite being in many team tours, so nice to
Many
see them
playoffs,
finally
yeah.
get it.
Yeah, good for them.
Should have got it in DPL. Our team was way too stacked to lose, but is what it is. You know, they should have won
Tough.
when I was on it. Frick. Congratulations to them. Honestly, Judgment Day had a fantastic season as well. They ended, I think, number 1 seed,
Yep.
and were dominant in the semifinals. So
Unfortunately, they just got touched in finals.
yeah, as often is the case, right? It's pretty rare to see a
Yep.
close finals. Usually, one team just has a read on the other, and there's really not much you can do
Unless
about it.
you're God PTE versus DUI and you just make it go to game fucking 3 in tie breaks.
Yeah. Just for the
Some
love of the
teams
game.
Yeah, some teams just have more aura than others. It's okay.
I get it.
And then Undead also crushes your dreams in that one too.
Mm,
You're just constantly losing to Undead.
yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, was Undead on my team? I'm forgetting. Or was he on DUI?
Undead was on your
What about
team. PTE, right?
Oh, never mind. It was just Undead choking when I'm his teammate,
Right?
and then winning when I'm a man. This guy.
No respect.
I had it all wrong. Yeah, this guy just fucking hates me, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, PTE losing is also kind of crazy. Like,
Because
How-
we were so dominant.
how is DUI the winner there? Kind of crazy.
But it's also crazy because
Lane is just him.
nobody expected PTE to fucking like make finals. Or people thought we were going to be a bad team initially, right? But I will say that was my favorite like team tour experience ever. That team was so fucking
Yeah, I
fun
heard
to
you
do.
guys had a great time.
Bro,
a little
I
jealous.
swear- Literally in fucking finals, we had prep calls where I was building with my teammates, and I just had on the fucking Winnie the Pooh theme song on repeat for like an hour. And it got to the point where like we started to recognize all the different lyrics in the song, and like we would all collectively stop talking and like sing a lyric together, and then go right back to prepping. And it was like, it was genuinely beautiful. You really can't
Yeah.
replicate them. Yeah. The Glop crash out from finals. Wait, what was the crash out? Oh, because I wasn't played in tiebreaks? Nah, that's just classic Glop team makes playoffs and then chooses not to play him in tiebreaks and then suffers the consequences. Where have we seen this? PTE, Band Chasers, MTR, the list goes on. But it's okay, guys. You can't always get the chip. You got to be humbled sometimes, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you won the
Sometimes-
chip every time, it would be boring.
Yeah.
The leaked Golisopod. Yeah.
Oh, dude, no, that was actually... yeah, that pissed me off, bro.
Mhm. Yeah.
When your prep gets leaked before your finals game, yeah, kind of.
Freaking love
Look,
that.
I'll be the first to admit that Jimmy played incredibly well, and I did not play so great in that game. He deserved that win. But regardless, I think any player, regardless of your veteran status or your composure, I think if you went into fucking finals of DPL playoffs and you knew that part of your prep was leaked, you'd be a little bit fucking tilted, just a little bit, you know. So
Understandable, dude.
there's my John.
That was
There's my
messed
John.
up. All right, well, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, I'd appreciate a like. Obviously, helps out the algorithm and all that stuff.
I got
And-
you, bro. Fat like.
Go fat like, obese even. We
The
love
first
that.
like I'm seeing on here, these guys are just all fake fans, unlike me.
Yeah, mine's saying we have 10 likes right now. Guys, the math is not mathing. Like the stream. So true.
Damn, Sin passed me as the fucking #1 Glazer. Fuck. Man, I missed one stream and this is what happens. Crazy. work.
Literally.
Well met, Sin. Well met.
What's next now that DCL is done? I'm taking a break from Pokemon personally. I know there is the seasonal going on right now. There's an Ubers thing happening right now. There's a Swish team tour happening pretty soon.
You know, if I may, L5.
You may.
So, for those of you who are interested in the aforementioned Ubers or the Swish League that is taking place, I myself will not be competing in it. I need a break from team tours, but
I feel that.
I am going to see if my shit internet will allow me to do streams like L5 has done, where I will be doing blind reaction coverage of the matches that take place in the Swish Tour. That's kind of my plan right now. I actually have plans to go into broadcasting school in the spring, and so I figured it'd be a very nice way to sort of build a portfolio of, like, you know, esports commentary and things like that. So if you guys would like to see that, keep your eyes out for it. I also will be doing some coverage of my run in the NatDex Ubers Draft League. I replaced a guy with a really shit draft, and I managed to make it, like, okay. So we'll see how that goes. So there will definitely be some more draft content. If you guys would like to be there with me, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, I also plan on covering DFL playoffs. Right now, they're in tie breaks for semifinals, but once that's concluded, I do plan on covering that next week, and then the DFL finals the following week, or, you know, in 2 weeks, depending on if they go to tie breaks, so we can have it all in one stream.
If you'd like, I can join you for that too.
I know Greg said he wanted to join as well, so we could have a
by all means.
crowd.
You make the call. If you want it to just be a two-way, I totally understand that, because I know that 3 sometimes gets a little bit crowded. You just tell me, not a big deal.
It does, but I feel like with Greg and you, it should be just a chill vibe. With DFL, I don't plan on just like hard and analyzing everything. Like what we have done for this final series.
We're gonna chop it up a little bit.
It's a little bit more chill, more so just enjoy your time. When 24-hour stream, I had an idea, right, where maybe we could do a 24-hour stream at some point, because my schedule was like pretty clear for a time, but now I do have a lot more going on actually. So a 24-hour stream is a little bit less.
What's the longest stream you've done?
I think it was a World Cup stream that was like almost 9 hours long.
Yeah, because I think I've done like an 8-hour stream once. I used to stream a shit ton on Twitch. I really want to get back into it, but I got to get my own place first. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, 8-hour stream, bro. When you step out of that chair, you feel like a fucking carcass, bro. Like, people don't realize this. Streaming is actually very exhausting, because not only in a lot of cases are you actually playing the game that you're talking about, right? You're also like reading the chat, interacting with the chat, and like, oh, that sounds really easy, right? Dude, give it a try sometime. And if you have an actually active chat, you will see that it is very mentally taxing.
You have to be entertaining the whole time. Like, at
Yeah,
least
that's
it
the thing
feels
too,
like
right?
that.
Like, you got to be on your fucking A game pretty much the whole time. Otherwise, you're just a fucking snooze fest.
Yeah, and you were saying like using this kind of content as a way to build a portfolio for like commentating stuff. I've also been kind of treating it in a similar way, whereas like I've been using it as a opportunity to get better at casting games. I feel like the streams now are like miles better than they were when I first started doing these, so pretty happy about that.
So maybe one day you and me might be commentating Overwatch 3 Grand Finals, right?
Oh yeah.
It could be us, bro.
I love Overwatch.
I would love that. I like watching it. I don't like playing it anymore. Overwatch 2, I think, is dog shit, personally. Overwatch 1 was amazing, and I loved it.
Yeah, I like both. I like Overwatch 2 more. To each their own, right?
It feels very different to me, and it's like, the other problem too is that I have it on PC instead of console, and I used to be a console player, so it's like, the funny thing is, even though my aim was like obviously not as good because I've been a console gamer, I still managed to place. I think I did placements for Overwatch 2. I managed to place what is it, Diamond? Yeah. So that's just all just on like fundamentals. So I still like know the game conceptually, but man, it's a different ballpark on PC, let me tell you.
Yeah. People shoot back a little bit more.
Hey, no, they definitely shoot back on console, bro. Okay? Trust me.
No,
I would know. I was the
know.
one receiving the shots. I was always a tank player, so I'd be like,
dude, I played a few Overwatch tournaments with some friends who are all like moderately better than me. And I remember we played like a top 500 console team in a tournament, and they shoot back, man. Like just getting one clip by Tracer off cooldown. Like part of
Oh,
it, we're
it's
just dog shit walking in a straight line, but also they were pretty clean. I'm not gonna lie.
They don't fuck around.
Yeah. So like, it's always a fun time. There's some highlights out there on YouTube
For sure.
that are super funny. But yeah. Tracer broken with aim assist? No? Yeah, so true.
Hurry, end the stream, end the stream. I just stole number one. Hurry, end it.
End the stream? All right. See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Have a good
Next
one,
week,
guys.
DF